And we are live at 5 because I just had to make some stupid rhyme with this. And honestly, some kind of old style news reference. 'Cause that's just the weird crap I do. Live again, back on StreamYard this time. It's the 4th, so my 20 hours with the free plan rolled back over. So yeah, back to StreamYard. After having to use Restream for a while, it's kind of nice to be back, although Restream is pretty powerful stuff. But that's neither here nor there. Our friend Brock is excited and also a little confused here because I decided to pop up with the reference, there is no cow level. If you get that reference, you probably need to see a doctor about many medical conditions due to age. I couldn't think of a particular one to bring up. Sorry, just trying to be funny here and striking out 2 for 2. But yeah, we are going to do this, and this time around, we're going for something a lit not different from the norm, but I haven't done this guy. No, I haven't done this guy. I haven't taken a look at this guy live, except for looking at a short of his last night while streaming. This is a YouTube channel called A Messenger of Truth. Yes, Brock, I am saying I'm old. I'm positively ancient. It's okay, you know. I'm surviving. Ah, but yes. Trying to stay focused because we always have fun in these streams. Just goof around and just be goofs. Words. Can I speak them today? We're taking a look at this guy, a messenger of truth, who has produced at this stage like 2,000 some odd videos, I think, 1.2K videos, has just under 50K subscribers. Is your typical, you'll get the vibe. I don't know how to describe it. He's not explicitly an apologist, but he's just your typical constantly produces Christian content because this is his entire existence. That's just how this guy is. And I mean, it's all this kind of stuff. You know, you just go through and everything. It's exactly what you'd expect. And I found this guy kind of at random, just hunting for some stuff. Did my first video, did my second video a few days, maybe like a week ago. There's something about him that's just kind of unnerving in the way he does things. His relatively stoic deliveries and his just bullheadedness when it comes to just some of this stuff is just really weird. And I thought it provided a nice contrast to some of the other stuff I've covered. So what we are going to do is look at his video that was the most recent when I planned this stream. God did this because free will is what the thumbnail says. With the video titled "The Most Useless Answer to This Tough Question." So I'm going to cue this goodie on up, double check the chat, and we are going to begin. Let's double check the chat. Stacy is now a cow. Soot Kettle has a boinked in. Stay a while and listen. Yes. Sydney's here. Good morning. Ah, the guy who palming himself. Yep. And I knew Deviant would show up if Soot was in the building. We have the squad, ladies and gentlemen. Some of the core people are here. It is officially the squad. More members of the squad will arrive. When we've got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, when we've got at least 3 of you in here, Brock's going to be in the squad soon enough. That dude's going places. You're not in the squad yet, but you're going to be there. When we've got 3 people or more from the core group, the squad is here. We're ready to go. So with that being said, we've wasted 5 minutes. Oh, great. It's this Nimrod, the man with more mustache than arguments. Oh, deviant. I think it goes without saying, but I must say it. That is not saying much. Brock, I bet that the people on the video that the palm tree guy is watching will say something silly and then he will stereotype all atheists that way. Probably. Let's get me out of here. No, you know what? We're gonna do it this way, and then I'm gonna maximize. Maximize.
Most people,
What?
according to
Hey,
your theology,
hey, stop playing. Bad video. Bad video. And if you also look right there, you can see where I got my thumbnail screenshot from. But let's jump into it. Ready, steady, go.
Most people, according to your theology, will end up in hell. And
okay, maybe that guy's theology. But God said to Abram in Genesis chapter 12, "And you, all the families of the earth, will be blessed." In Genesis 15, he said, "Now look toward the heavens and number the stars if you are able to number them. So shall your seed be." Psalm 22 says,
Yeah, I can number the stars. There's over 9,000. There, I numbered them.
"All the ends of the earth will remember and turn to Yahweh, and all the families of the nations will worship before you. For the kingdom is Yahweh's, and he rules over the nations." I have a longer video explaining this if you want to watch it, but
I really don't. Just give us your summary, Orange Room Boy.
believe that the majority of
That's what I'm going to call him, Orange Room Boy. I got to come up with a nickname.
Humans will be saved, not just a small minority. After all, if God took greater pleasure in the death...
Wait. What did he say about that a sec ago?
Video explaining this if you want to watch it, but I do believe that the majority of humans will be saved.
Okay, the majority. Let's see how he works this logic in.
Not just a small minority. After all, if God took greater pleasure in the death of the wicked than he did in saving people, then why not just go all the way and kill everyone? No, I believe...
Face palming right now. Why not just go all the way? Isn't that exactly what the character did in the flood story? Is that not literally, explicitly what was done and what was originally intended? Before, I think some angel convinced him, to find some people or some shit. And that's how the whole Noah thing happened. Or maybe he just decided to pick Noah as like, well, everything's fucked up, but it'll be better if we let you be the seed for it instead of just resetting everything. Bruh, come on. We're 40 seconds in. And you've already got me regretting my decision to even go live. Also, quit making that face.
that God has greater pleasure in showing mercy and grace.
Will end up in hell, and that's not a God that I would want to worship.
So there she actually revealed her cards already. She simply does not like God. The fact is, if God never said...
It's always with this idea that we don't like God. Yeah, in the same way you don't like Voldemort or Emperor Palpatine or fucking Scarlet Briar. There's your Guild Wars reference. It's a shitty character. Get over it. You treat it as if they exist, as if it's, I don't like God in the same way I don't like Kent Hovind. No, Kent Hovind is real. Sadly. Your deity isn't. Thankfully. So get over this shit, because that's 0.0 of why your ilk fail in even remotely understanding any rejection to your theology, let alone the base perspective that we come from. You cannot treat it in a discussion as if your deity is a given de facto standard that is demonstrably in existence. I know that's what everything bases around, your entire idea based around, but it's just not the case. You have to work on our level. We sure as hell work on your level and work most of our arguments against your theology, like explicitly against it, in the framework of the theology. With the addition of that's an if it was true kind of case. In the grand scheme, though, it's just a facet of we don't believe it to begin with. So, we're meeting you on your level, but you can't do the same. I hope that rambling bit made sense. I'm a little tired this afternoon. Slept late, woke up, did a video, decided I'd stream, kind of nibbled on my dinner. It's one of those days.
Saved to anybody. Nobody deserves salvation. We have all sinned. If God never sent anybody to hell, we would still be obligated to worship him, to love him, because he is righteousness. we need to do good. It is objectively good to do good deeds, right? So her desire is not for the truth. Her desire is for a God that she makes in her own image.
Well, you can choose not to worship him, but it's people's free will where they're choosing to reject him.
Why would God create this
But it's people's free will where they're trying to reject him. Also, I can't ignore that this girl is rocking the goth look way too hard. It's giving me flashbacks to high school. Just saying. Not really attacking it or not. Just it's a little much, is all I'm saying. Feels a little too much.
dichotomy in the first place? Why would he give humans free will, fully knowing, because he's all knowing, that this would happen to most humans? It doesn't.
Okay, ignoring the most human.
See, no, this is the entire thing right here. Then you're just gonna sit there and tiptoe around it. That she is working from a perspective of inside of your own theological framework where stuff falls apart. And again, you can't meet somebody on that same level of trying to understand perspective from outside of the existence of the deity. So you just have to sit there and come up with apologetics inside of that view, and then just say other people must be mad at the deity or just don't want to hear what they have to say. You don't want to follow their rules and other stupid shit like that. When you get to it, that's step 3, and you haven't gotten to step 0 of things that could be said. If that was even the case, which it isn't, but you get where I'm going.
Humans part. This is a valid question that every Christian should be able to answer. Why would God create X person knowing that X person would never believe and end up in hell? What is the point of that? You can't just say, oh, because free will is the very reason why they ended up there. They rejected God because of their supposed free will. You only push the issue aside.
So, wait, bro. Is there free will? Is there not, from your perspective? Either way you answer makes your God look like a dick for reasons we may or may not have the opportunity to get into.
Whenever you say, oh, because free will. Well, why did God give them free will? Okay. The better thing to do is just go to the scriptures rather than, free will this, free will that. But
Doesn't make any sense.
But free will is oftentimes the argument used to defend the sickening concept of your deity punishing people for not believing in them. So it has to be addressed. I feel like this is going to become another catchphrase of mine. This guy, much like so many others, seems to want to have their cake and eat it too.
Say someone came up and they kidnapped you and they took you and put you in their basement and they chained you up and they said, you're going to marry me and you're going to love me and you're going to raise my children. Is that love?
Bruh, you don't realize what you just admitted by that. By making that analogy, you just admitted how much of a complete shitbag God is. Bruh. We're going to take another look at that. Also, can't you fuckers leave pride festivals alone? Just saying.
Free will this, free will that. But
Doesn't make any sense.
Say someone came up and they kidnapped you and they took you and put you in their basement and they chained you up and they said, you're going to marry me and you're going to love me and you're going to raise my children. Is that love?
Let's say some God just allowed you to exist, apparently created you individually because they know everyone before they're created, and let you exist in the world, and let whatever happens to you happen to you, for good or bad, allows you to have the intelligence and intellect you have, knows exactly what would convince you of their existence, but doesn't necessarily provide that, yet simultaneously can and will eternally punish you for the finite crime of simply not accepting arbitrary rules from that deity. Is that love? You fuckers are parodies of yourselves and you don't even realize it. Sorry, I need a moment to try to rationalize how this guy gets up every day, puts clothes on, goes out, is able to drive a car, operate a goddamn microphone, and do whatever the hell else he does every day without somehow choking on his own tongue because of how fucking idiotic he is. Holy shit. I was gonna say another word, but I'm being good today.
No, of course not.
No. So he took your free will away from you and he said, you're going to love me. God doesn't do that. He's not going to take you and force you to love him like that kidnapper. So he gave free will so that there can be love. But if someone came up and they wooed you and you fell in love with them and they asked you to marry them and then you said yes.
Okay, but let's just take this back a step. Irrelevant to the whole love thing, this, that, the other. Is it right to punish someone who doesn't love you? Are you saying that that kind of excessive reaction to rejection is justified? I don't know why I never thought about it before, but that's what this boils down to. That's fucking monstrous. Like, I'm not kidding. That actually is making me sick to think about. You know that nausea you get when you have an adrenaline release? I just had a slight hit of that and that cold feeling when you have a small adrenal release. It actually made me sick and triggered my fight or flight response. What the fuck? These people are insane.
That's going to be love. Because why? Because you had free will. So if there's truly love, then there.
Okay, that's enough. In the final analysis of
Yeah, that's enough. We've already had enough of you. But this live stream is going to be dedicated to your crap unless I finally give up. In which case, I'll just start up a second stream. Because I have decided that it might be better to do multiple small streams than one big ass one. I don't know. We're going to see how this goes. God give us free will and control all our actions, especially since that's what he did if you go by the Bible narrative. And since God sets the rules, it still works out logically.
of this view. Okay, if you're teaching this, if you believe this as a Christian, God proposes to everyone. He wants everyone to become married to him, and salvation is just like a marriage proposal. It's
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Bruh. You really want to use that kind of analogy? Since I'm 100% sure you're vehemently against anything remotely considered homosexual, LGBTQ, anything of that nature, any kind of non-heterosexual, cis-heterosexual expression, and you want to make what amounts to a gay marriage reference between Magic Sky Daddy and the male populace, you want to rethink that, dude? You want to rethink that? Think you might want to rethink that.
it's up to you to accept it. And so the reason why you end up saved is not because of God proposing to you, it's because of you accepting it. And the reason why
No, you're saved because the deity decides under these conditions they're not going to eternally punish you for a finite crime. I've used this analogy with Kent Hovind's channel violations before on various platforms. He'll say they shut us down, but I argue with his biblical constructs using the same logic that he got his own self in trouble by performing the actions he did, which actually is the truth. It's the same logic he would use for the deity punishing someone with hell, in that they say that they chose it, the God didn't choose it, yet the God is doing the action. So it's a funny reversal that still proves the point even when applied. It's amazing they don't see this, but of course they can't, because they can't go against Holy Book except where they all go against Holy Book, because everyone's got their own little tweaks and variations of stuff. There's as many denominations of Christianity as there are Christians.
someone else is not saved is because they didn't accept it, meaning salvation rested on you. You're saved because you accepted it. It's all because of you, ultimately. This is basically the foundation for everything the Roman Catholic Church teaches. They say, yeah,
100% Sydney. Has anyone noticed that there's a strong correlation to theist creationist comments, bad spelling, punctuation, and grammar, and their lack of science education? I mean, it's just, they're a lot of times fucking idiots. Or incompetent one. I'll go on and fucking say it. It's pretty fucking bad. Oh, he's coming close to Kerr theology. According to her, everyone will be married to Jesus in heaven. And she explicitly says that no, that's not a metaphor. And yes, tells all components of marriage. So what you're saying is, like the famous line from that quote-unquote banned Mormon cartoon, it will be endless celestial sex. Oh, my ex was tripping on that when I showed her that part. The look on her face was priceless. Good times. Then she became an unpleasant person. Let's continue with this other unpleasant person.
Yes, God is trying to save everyone. He offers salvation and wants to save everyone. However, it is up to the humans to make the final decision. Also, I made a video on this specific topic before.
Okay, I make the decision that if there is a magical deity, that deity understands why I think the way I do and why I feel the way that I do about all concepts of them proposed to me. And they would understand that I cannot control these feelings because it's the way my brain is hardwired, the way the logic is going to function under the given situations. If they wanted me to know about them, they would know exactly what evidence would convince me. By not showing me that evidence, they either don't exist or they don't actually care how I feel about them, which I would expect something infinitely powerful to literally not give a shit about what we think, because why would we not liking them possibly hurt the feelings of something with infinite power? How weak are you if my opinion fucking hurts your feelings? And that if there is any kind of punishment system for that deity, it would be reserved for people who actually deserve it, and not those who simply reject the concepts and stories they're told because they don't match with reality. And that the deity would probably value those who reject these claims and stories, since they're not only evidently not true, or not evidently true, they're evidently not true. Just straight up. So, I win?
Or if you want to check it out. But this is a common bad answer to the problem of evil that people give. Men and angels must be given freedom to do evil if their love for God is to be genuine. The idea is, hey, if they don't have the ability to do evil.
See, this is one of the best things about StreamYard is that the interaction with the chat is near instant. It's like a minute plus delayed in Restream, and that's just too goddamn long. So I'm glad I can get up to the minute feedback from my wonderful community. Gosh.
Then that means they're just forced to love God, and that's not genuine love. Now, this is just another way of giving up God's omnipotence, but with phrases like, in order for love to exist, there has to be free will, or God wanted to create real people, not pets or robots, or we need the ability to do evil to genuinely love God, because forced love isn't true love. The first problem with this is that this idea isn't in scripture anywhere. It's not even hinted at. It is straight up from the
You know what else isn't in scripture anywhere? The Trinity concept, but that was devised so that people could place more importance on Jesus beyond just him being effectively a sacrificial lamb, and to help explain his miraculous capabilities, and also him simultaneously not necessarily violating the no God before me thing, yet by doing it as they did, they actually explicitly violate the no God before me thing, and it just becomes a hot fucking mess. Not in the good way either. Not like when your girlfriend wakes up and her hair is a little messy, but she looks cute as hell. Not that kind of hot mess. More like a steaming pile of dog diarrhea right outside your door that you step in right as you open the door to get ready to go into the bathroom and get ready for work. Just step right in that shit. That's the kind of hot mess this shit is.
the human mind, human philosophy. It's useless. If you're someone who rejects sola scriptura and you don't think that the scriptures provide us for everything that we need to perform good deeds and defend the faith, then I get why you would want to use such an argument like this. But for the biblical Christian, we need to go to scripture to explain why God allows evil and ultimately.
And you know, this is a meme going on with this dude, is that just like Ken Hovind's slides, this guy has like an indexed list of everything in the Bible and he just shows random verses. Like, I would say take a drink every time he does that, but much like taking a drink when Hovind does any kind of Hovindism, you would die. And I don't want that to happen to my wonderful audience.
Sends people to perish. Secondly, was my love for my mother at age 2 less real, even though I never chose to become her son? Is my mother evil for forcing me into this relationship? I never asked to be born. I didn't choose my parents. I love how the clearest picture for salvation in all of Scripture is being born of the Spirit. I didn't will my own physical birth, my mother did. I didn't will my own spiritual birth, God did. You cannot climb up into God's womb and make your
To be fair, your physical birth is technically just chemistry, as is all life. It's just chemicals doing what chemicals do. In this case, just some very refined packets of chemicals. One of which is an egg, and the other is this nice mystical goo that came from Daddy. Do I need to explain that to you? I feel like I might need to explain that to you.
yourself born of the Spirit, can you? Thirdly, God cannot.
You know what? I just realized who this guy reminds me of. He reminds me of if Armando Calvo was actually a competent person. It's not saying much, but that's what this guy reminds me of. Fucking Armando. We need to look at him sometime. That clown. Ugh. And to think he's in the fucking military, that's terrifying.
Not sin. With this humanist definition of freedom, which means the ability to do good or evil, makes it so that God himself is not free. What a stupid definition. God is the most free being alive, and there is no law above him. Freedom to sin is not an ability any Christian should want to have or should.
Thank you, Deviant, for making me aware of these variations, because I'm truly not well versed in this. I'm just going off my own thought processes to counteract these fools. Which I guess you guys kind of love, because it's not quite the same rhetoric you get normally. I mean, not that we complain about each other's rhetoric, but sometimes I get tired of, always seeing the same arguments from certain types of atheists. But I usually don't follow them too well, so.
Should be promoting as a means to have true love. Romans 6 says that when you were a slave, not free to sin, you were free in regard to righteousness. I truly hate this definition of free will with all my heart, because this causes people to believe that true freedom is only found.
No, Brock, sorry. I'm trying to pay both attention to what's being said in the video and pop the comments up. And sometimes I just don't quite have a reaction necessarily to stuff. But if we go back, and never feel bad about having to leave the stream to go do something, that's life. Your life is more important than the stream, even if it's just random things you have to do. How is it not love for God to force us to just be nice? Just make us love being nice. That's an idea. And see, that's the funny thing, is that we can all think of little tweaks, little changes to things that would make stuff make a little more sense. But they aren't how the world works, and that's the entire point of bringing them up. They're not how the world works. And so by contrasting these great ideas to something, just random, it's like, okay, this starts to paint a picture of the ineptitude of the deity if they actually existed.
And those who can do good or evil, when in reality, true freedom is only found in slavery to righteousness / God. Freedom from sin. This humanist definition of freedom often leads people to believe that God has the ability to sin. This thought is so disgusting and so far removed from scripture, but its root is the humanist view of free will. Saying the God of truth has the ability to lie is to say that 2 + 2 could be 4. Saying the God of love could rejoice in unrighteousness is to say a loving mother could murder her baby. What about the saints in eternity?
Bruh. You know that story a few years back about that woman who drowned her kids because she wanted them to go to heaven? Was that not done out of love? And I'm dead serious on that. As horrible a thought as it is to do, when you realize why the parent was doing it, it makes complete sense. And that's the terrifying thing, is that it makes sense. Doesn't make it right. It's obviously horrible, and she's fucking crazy, and is a fine example of how religion lives in pretty dangerous territory alongside potential mental illness. But you cannot say what she did wasn't out of love. You can't say that. And I mean, you cannot say that. Since is not ensuring your kids go to Happy Magic Skyland the ultimate love? Let's continue.
Every Christian acknowledges that the saints won't be able to sin anymore once they are glorified. What then? Will our love for God be less real because our ability to sin has been taken away and we have been made perfect without the ability to even think evil thoughts? No, in fact, our love for God will be more real because it will be a perfect love. Our love we have for God as of now is not perfect. It needs.
Brock bringing up a fine, simple point. Hey, Tree Guy, could God lie for the greater good? In fact, the character does lie several times, including Genesis. He lied about Eve dying. Oh, but it was a spiritual death. That's not what it says. Do you take it literally or do you take it figuratively? Because it can't be both. Make up your damn minds, theists.
To be strengthened. The ability to sin is a weakness, not a power. That's not freedom. Now, the biblical answer to this question of, oh, why did God create non-believers and believers? Why didn't he just create believers? Why create these non-believers who he knows they're going to reject him and end up perishing? What is the point of this? A lot of Christians will
Yeah, love to hear your answer to this one. I'm sure it's going to be pathetic.
say that they don't know, and the Bible doesn't say. It's a mystery. We're just going to have to trust God. But that's simply not true. The scriptures answer this many times. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 4 says, Yahweh has made everything for its own purpose. Really? Everything? Yes, everything, even the wicked for the day of evil, even the wicked people.
So there we go. We're being called wicked now. Just, take a shot every time you get called wicked by a theist on the internet.
Out there, they have a purpose in God's overall plan. For the day of evil can be translated the day of destruction as well. So the fact is, wicked people existing and ultimately perishing is part of God's plan. We can't say, hey, God gave them free will. It was part of his plan that they would be saved, but they rejected his plan. They stopped his plan. That's not biblical. The fact is, yes, God is all knowing. He knows the future and he's all powerful, meaning he himself created the future. Everything that happens in time is part of God's plan. Now, just to pause right.
Then the entire universe is completely pointless. Free will doesn't actually exist. I mean, come the fuck on, dude. Once you cement your magic sky daddy as having those particular properties, everything becomes completely moot.
Right here for a moment, a lot of people think that I'm saying that God is forcing these wicked people to do evil, like he's planting evil thoughts.
If the entity knows what they're going to do and it allows them to exist, then it is basically creating them under that kind of circumstance. Let's say I'm in like an editor mode for some kind of game. Let's say I'm playing Minecraft and I spawn a creeper. And creepers do what creepers do. When they're around a player, they run towards it and want to give it a nice big hug. And by that, I mean fucking explode. Because creepers are weird. Now, granted, I didn't engineer the creeper. I didn't code the creeper. But I know by allowing myself to spawn the creeper, I am creating a condition where that creeper will inevitably want to explode when around a player, even if it's just me. It's going to want to do that. And let's say I judge that as a bad thing because I just put the creeper in my base. Do I then blame the creeper for blowing up and destroying, part of my storage room? Or do I blame myself for having spawned the creeper? Knowing good and well that I put something dangerous in my home in the game. Which is it, buddy? Is God the one in control, or is it are we the ones who do things? Because if he's allowing stuff to exist and ensuring people are created that already have this nature in them, then yeah, he might as well be putting the thoughts. But of course, to you, a wicked thought is, ooh, that girl over there looks pretty. Or, hey, I'm going to look at some boobs on the internet. But all the other shit that goes on in the universe doesn't matter. Starvation, irrelevant. Genocide, irrelevant. But God sure hates it if I think a girl looks swell.
Into their hearts. That is not true. In the book of Genesis, Joseph got sold by his brothers into slavery, and at the end of the story, they get reunited, and Joseph says, as for you, you meant evil against me, but God never meant it to happen, but he just turned it around for good. Nope, that is not what it says. That's how a lot of Christians interpret this passage, but God...
You know what is more real to me, real and definitely deserves more worship than the Christian God? The flag of New Mexico, because that is such a kick-ass flag. And every time you're in the chat, Michael, I'm reminded of just how perfect a flag New Mexico's flag is. Fuck yeah.
Meant it for good. The evil that the brothers committed against Joseph was indeed part of God's plan. God meant it for good, though, whereas the brothers meant it for evil. They had sinful desires in their hearts in the action, but God had righteousness in his heart when he permitted these evil creatures to do evil things. Now, at this point,
Oh, now we're evil creatures, according to this dude's magic book of bullshit. Wow. Aren't you just the nicest person? I'm so glad I found this guy, because while he is insufferable, Kent is annoying, but this fucker is insufferable. I know that the more I cover his content, the more that's going to annoy him. I'm going to become a thorn in his side, and he is going to provide hours upon hours of future entertainment for us, helping prove to 0645-2017 that I don't need him for success. He just happens to be an easy target.
some people might have already clicked off because they just can't stand the idea of a sovereign God, a potter who actually does whatever he wants with the clay. But once we've
All right, we got a new Mexican in the chat. What happened to the old Mexicans? I would continue the joke in Hovind style, but I don't want to say some racist bullshit because I happen to really like the Hispanic population in Memphis. Some really great people I've met. Just it's been a cool 15 years now, as it's relatively skyrocketed.
established the fact that all things are truly
Sorry, the window like choked out for a moment there.
going according to God's plan, and that everything has its own purpose, even the wicked for the day of evil. The question still actually remains, what is that purpose? What's the point of this? Well, the answer is found in Romans chapter 3 all the way through Romans 9. I'm not going to read all of that in this video, but the question begins in Romans 3. If our unrighteousness demonstrates the righteousness of God, what shall we say? Is the God who inflicts wrath righteous? I'm speaking human terms. May it never be. For otherwise, how will God judge the world? But if through my lie, the truth of God abounded to his glory, why am I also being judged as a sinner? And why not say, as we are slanderously reported and as some claim that we say, let us do evil that good may come. Their condemnation is just. This is the very short answer. Christianity basically teaches that all things, good or evil, in this world is ultimately purposed for good. If you have
First off, I feel like bringing up the fact that he went all things good and evil in this world is purpose, should have been are purposed. I know I stumble across myself a lot, but I find a funny thing with some types of theists where they will misuse, the particular quantifier. I forget the word in English to describe it. The is, are, is it prepositions? I think it's still prepositions. I'm pretty sure. It's just a funny little quirk I noticed that's really common amongst them. And I forgot what my second thing was going to be completely. Oh yeah, this idea that everything is for good. It's like, okay then, so doesn't that mean that the quote unquote wicked are doing a good thing? So they're not wicked? It's like the standard idea that the Satan character runs hell and does the punishing. It's like, okay, then isn't he doing a job to assist God by doing such? It makes no sense. It's like they're buddies, and he just works the lower levels, no pun intended, of the eternal factory. It's like, oh, you go to the shitty levels. He gets good levels up there, but at the end of the day, they both clock out and go to their mansions. It's like, what the fuck? None of this stuff makes any sense, and these people spend their whole lives trying to figure it out. It's insane, literally insane.
ever told a lie in your life, it abounded to his glory. Somehow, some way, God.
Oh God, now he's like Ray Comfort, except lies are good. What the fuck, bruh? You seriously lost me. All right. And yeah, I'm trying to entertain, and yeah, I'm trying to watch this, the chat and enjoy, my comments from my friends, onlookers. I was gonna say friends and family. It's like, no, none of my family's in this chat. my extended family, as Homo sapien, but point is, I can't pay attention to all your bullshit, but still, normally it's not this hard to follow these things, and you've just completely lost the point. I can't get what you're trying to say, and I think there is nothing to get from it. You're just defending shit to be defending it.
God worked it together for good. The question is, why am I still judged then if God is ultimately working it together for good and it's all part of his plan? What's interesting here about this one, some slanderously report that Christians say that we should do good so that good may come. This is an accusation that Christians...
Hey, Deviant, I just want to point out, if you and Soot know anybody that wants to pop over to the U.S. and likes a goober like me, just I'm just saying I'm available. Oh, it's not even a joke. Oh, I gotta be funny sometimes, but seriously, yeah. Someone give me something to do other than make these videos. I'm tired of it. I want to go out and have some fun. Ugh. Can you imagine Hovind going for a night out on the town? It'd be so pathetic. We're not talking about him. We're talking about Mr. Orange Room here. I'm just being weird.
Still get to this day. Non-believers are like, Jesus died for our sins. We should just go on sinning again because it's all working together for good, right? No, their condemnation is just. If you think like that, you are condemned and you should repent. That is not the point. So in between chapter 3 and chapter 9, Paul explains justification by faith and living in the spirit and everything. And of course, he gets to the topic of election, what God's purpose actually is in all of this, choosing to save people. He explains, just as it is written, Jacob I loved, but Esau I hated. Before the twins were born, before they did anything good or bad, God chose. It was according to his choice, not because of works, but because of him who calls. What shall we say then? Is there any unrighteousness with God? May it never be. For he says to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I have compassion. So then it does not depend on the one who wills or the one who runs, but on God who has mercy. For the scripture says...
Okay. Bruh. Gonna remind you of something. The Bible is fundamentally one of the shittiest books ever written. It is structurally garbage. It's actually a reference book, which is why it's formatted the way it is in most cases. Which makes it even worse to try to read. It is unreadable to me. It doesn't say, it spends a whole lot of time saying absolutely nothing, which probably explains why everyone defending it spends an inordinate amount of time saying absolutely nothing of value. Get to the goddamn point. Just get to the fucking point and put some citations on what to read in there. Oh, wait, I forgot. You need to make sure to cross the 10-minute mark for your videos because, like everyone playing the YouTube game, which I'm going to be playing soon enough in the advertising game at the rate things are going, you want to get those extra ads in. Of course, I pay for YouTube Premium, so I don't actually have to deal with the ads because I'm tired of fighting ad block and all that stuff, and I like some of the bonus features. Which also sadly means that you get a tiny bit of revenue from my subscription every time I cover one of your videos. Huh. Maybe I should stop helping the enemy. Whatever. Welcome to capitalism, baby.
Justifier, for this very purpose, I raised you up in order to demonstrate my power in you, and in order that my name might be proclaimed throughout the whole earth. So then, God has mercy on whom he wants, whom he desires, and he hardens.
Crypto, we will not mention the forbidden anime here because I don't remember all the details in it. It's been forever, but I'm very aware of it. I'm aware of a lot of things, honestly, and I've been aware of a lot of things at ages that probably shouldn't have been aware of them. But that's neither here nor there.
Whom he desires. You will say to me then, why does he still find fault? For who resists his will? On the contrary, who are you, O man, who answers back to God? Will the thing molded say...
Stacy, you're fine. No one should think that if they don't pop in a comment for a while that I feel like they've abandoned me or something. The most I'm going to think is that you legitimately had to go do something more important. Because one, if I say something out of line, I expect you motherfuckers to call me out on it. Number two, we've been hanging out for months, so I know y'all are cool. And 3, there's more important stuff to do than to comment on my streams, as much as that does help me out and commenting on videos and interacting, as fun as it is. You got to do the stuff you got to do, Stacy. And I know where you're heading. So, yeah, you definitely want to make that trip ready, as good and ready as you can, and enjoy the hell out of it. I want pictures, goddammit. Hell, if AJ and I were both on the same phone type, I'd want a damn video call just to be like, what up? I could probably send a video. Think about it, Stacy. You and AJ might finally get to see the face of Yamato. I should do that. Just send a video one day like, hey, what's up? But that's enough of that. I mean, it's not enough of that. I do want you to have fun, but we got to focus on the video.
Say to the molder, why did you make me like this? Or does not the potter have authority over the clay to make from the same lump one vessel for honor?
Also, God, this comment from Crypto is amazing. And the writing language of the Bible is very telling that it was written by an insecure man who may have smoked a hallucinogenic plant to extinction. Oh, you'll get the chef's kiss for that one. That is just superb. Superb comment right there. Technically, Brock, if you go back to certain old videos, you can see my face. It's back when I had long hair as well. Now I have less hair. Thank you, genetics.
Honorable use and another for dishonorable use. And what if God, wanting to demonstrate his wrath, highlight this, how often does any Christian explain that God wants to demonstrate his wrath? We hear so often of God's mercy, love, forgiveness, grace.
So you're telling me God wants to start a bar fight. I'm glad you acknowledge this, because the character seems like the kind of douche canoe who'd go to a bar just to fight somebody.
Compassion, all that. Yes, that is true. God takes great pleasure in that. As I said earlier, I believe that most humans will receive this. However, there's still this in the Bible. We cannot ignore the fact that God wants to demonstrate his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much patience vessels of wrath.
Seriously, Crypto, you're right. Given the angels have been described as horrifying eldritch entities with scores of eyes and wings, some sort of powerful narcotic had to be involved. Yeah, they're absolutely fucking terrifying. That's why they say, be not afraid. It's like, fuck you. I'm bringing the shotgun. I don't care if it's, negative 4 AD and shotguns ain't been invented yet. I got one of those motherfuckers from RoboCop. He got into the time travel device after the end of RoboCop versus Terminator. Because apparently RoboCop is involved in Skynet's storyline in the Sega Genesis universe. I've still got to work out the details on that. But yeah, that'll be a deep dive video essay. That's when I start doing iceberg videos, because I'm going to become that kind of YouTube douchebag. I'm totally not. Always going to retain the personality that I have in my videos.
Having been prepared for destruction. Once again, very common misconception. Every time I read this verse in the video, people are like, oh, so you think that God created people just to destroy them? He just loves killing people? He loves showing wrath? No, this is much patience on God's part. He's grieved. You read Genesis 6, God's grieved in his heart for all of the sin. Remember, all these atheists complaining about evil in the world, guess what? God hates that evil much more than they do. God just has this purpose, right? Endured with much patience, vessels of wrath having been prepared for destruction. Once again, it's not God prepared these vessels of wrath in hopes that they would be saved. No, they were prepared for this. This is exactly part of God's plan. In order, once again, there's this greater purpose. It's not just to destroy them just because God wants to kill them all because he's evil or whatever. No, all of this, what we just read, happens for this greater purpose. In order, okay, that he might make known, so this is for knowledge of the riches of his glory upon the vessels of mercy. Ultimately, it's for...
What a load of absolute fucking bullshit. You are the biggest clown I've had the misfortune of interacting with since I started doing this type of YouTube content. Kent Hovind is slightly more hinged than you. Holy fuck. And you're allowed out in society with this idea being a core tenet of your perception of the entire universe? What the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, I am seriously not going to be surprised if we don't see this dude on the news for doing something he really shouldn't have. And that's as far as I'm going to take it. You can go anywhere you want to with that. Are you a serious sociopath? That's the only thing I'm getting from this. Holy shit.
Or the church, so that the church recognizes God's glory, his mercy, his wrath, all of the riches of his glory, which he prepared beforehand for glory. Even us, whom he also called, not from among Jews only.
Kid took a nap trying to live stream earlier. Oh, man. I'm going to have to check that out. Oh, I don't want to watch Kent, but I've got to see the funny. See, that's what the man doesn't understand, is that he's always providing something new to react to. Oh, they deleted it. Boo. We're going to have to start recording all his shit live, ain't we? Oh, shit's a mess.
But also from among Gentiles. This is why Christians cannot boast on the day of judgment and say, hey, I used my free will to accept the offer. No, all this was decided before we were born. That is a fact. And we are to be boasting in God's love for us, the fact that he had grace for us. And we did not do anything to deserve it, not do anything to cause God to love us. No, we are simply pieces of dust.
Hey, Marty, hadn't seen you for a minute. Hope all is well on your end. Great to see you.
That God wanted to use for his glory. And no, this does not mean God is selfish and he does everything for himself. Remember, God is triune. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good for those who are...
We got a good little comment here from our friend Brock. Seriously, everyone give Brock some love. This kid's awesome. Yeah, I'm old enough that I can call another young adult a kid. I mean it in an endearing way. Brock says, what if most religions, like Christianity, for example, were just pranks that somebody stumbled upon and tried to use as a control mechanism? It's a totally valid idea. Totally valid. It'd be pretty freaking wild. Just like, oh yeah, it was just a prank, bro. Just a prank. Marty saying he's doing well. I'm very, very glad you are, my friend. Yeah, Brock, Marty hadn't been here for a little bit. Not everyone can tune into every live stream. And I expect that, and I'm glad that people do pop in and say, hey, I've always got to stress that there's just so much love that I have for everyone coming in and just hanging out and having fun.
Called according to his purpose. If you want to understand this in Zoomer terms, this means that every Christian has plot armor. No matter what happens to the Christian, it is all being worked together for his good. Because
wow. Every time we go back, there's just more ridiculous shit. So now you're just outright admitting that your theology is a complete load of made up bullshit because you've been able to take current trendy terms for the invincible character phenomena and apply it to Christians, meaning they're always right and everything else is always wrong in the greater scheme of an us versus them construct that dominates the entirety of the universe in your theology. Yeah, I made that one more complex than it needed to be. It may be a side effect of the possible tism. It may be because I'm tired. It may be because this guy completely fries my brain. I don't know. But what I do know is you suck. And seriously, this is all really stupid. Like, wow. I didn't think you could get worse. Literally saying that Christians have plot armor and they can just get away with whatever in effect, that it doesn't matter. They're always good. And that everyone who's wicked by your classification is basically an NPC destined for destruction to prove a point of how good your deity is and how rich one will be by following them. And notice they've always got to throw in some analogy to material wealth for that. It can never just be the value of the love itself, of the afterlife itself. It always has to be made an analogy with actual tangible riches. You think if this was all so evident, the idea would just convey across without having to use an analogy of something in the world we actually live in. But what do I know? I'm just some wicked creature, according to this guy. Fuck you, dude. Move to Dinosaur Adventureland. You'd fit in real well there.
Those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to become conformed to the image of his son, so that he would be the firstborn among many brothers. And those whom he predestined, he also called. And those whom he called, he also justified. Those whom he justified, he also glorified. So God glorifies himself in his saints. The saints become glorified in him. Remember, the Father seeks the Son's glory and the Son seeks the Father's glory, right? Remember, God is light. God is love. Light reflects, okay? He doesn't just suck in like a black hole. Jesus is the bright morning star. Please like this video and subscribe if you have not.
There he goes. He's got to bring up his hip-hop remix of Winter, because, you know, you got to just ruin Vivaldi. Just fucking this guy. This fucking guy. While we're talking about fish, I have been very fond of betas. Beta, I should say. But I haven't been too good at keeping them alive, honestly. It's just never gone too well, and so I took a break from fish and haven't had any new ones in many, many years. Don't worry, I'm still not fully awake, and it's almost 6 p.m. I'm never fully awake. Okay, so here's the question. Do we want more of this guy? Gonna let the audience decide. Do we want more of this guy, or do we want to try something else? That's what I want to know. Atangelo, the answer is 42. Moving on. Swordtails. Those were deviant's fish which cannibalized its young. But Brock, I'm trying to avoid doing more Kent. I'm trying very hard to take a break from 0645 2017. Although Phantom X11 isn't here. So, No, I actually despise Elon Musk and have for nearly a decade now. So, yeah, no Musk. Could go for Ken Ham. Don't know what I want to do, but yeah. I mean, I guess we could see real quick. Try to find a shorter video. YouTube's acting crazy. Ken Ham and eggs. I mean, I think I've found one here that might be fun to... damn it! Fucking YouTube autoplay. Sorry, I'm just having my usual moment over here. Yeah, okay, and so are a lot of other people at Tangelo. A lot of people like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Doesn't mean anything.
Is there intelligent alien life? And if so, has the government been covering it up?
Yeah, we got Ken Ham asking, what does the Bible say about alien life? This may surprise you. Doesn't say jack diddly about alien life, but we're going to see.
3 or 4 targets, all altitudes, up and down. It's pretty crazy.
We have possession of bodies.
Yes.
Multiple types of creatures.
So what about the famous monochromatic tic-tac?
You know, there's stuff out there that we don't fully understand.
There's a lot of interest in the people coming from space.
How much did they tell you about that?
A lot.
What did they tell you?
Do aliens exist? Well, here's my simple answer. No, they don't exist. Now, I know there are many people that think there must be aliens out there. Actually, recently, I had the privilege of showing General Duke. He's an astronaut, the 10th astronaut and the youngest astronaut to ever walk on the moon. And he didn't come across any aliens when he was out there on the moon. And then,
yeah. Charlie Duke's not going to run across aliens on the fucking moon, dude. What's your point, Ham? What's your point? Also, I just want to say it's pretty fucked up that we live in a universe where clowns like Ken Ham get to meet, astronauts who walked on the fucking moon, and I don't get the opportunity to meet Jack Diddley shit. Fucking sucks. It just fucking sucks. Those guys are my fucking heroes. Sadly, passing at alarming rates, and it's unlikely I'll ever get to meet any of them. The 10-year-old me that went to the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville back in 90, actually it was 96, so I was 11 at the time. That kid is crying every day on the inside because ass clowns like this running their scam get to meet cool people and get to go cool places. Life just isn't as fortunate for some of us. But, Ken Ham fucking deserves it because he's a professional liar.
Then people will say, well, what about all the other planets and, the bodies out there in the universe? There's so many of them. Surely there must be aliens out there. Well, from a biblical perspective.
Tangelo, please get something new. This is not a tired old crap zone. Odds are completely irrelevant. And by that I mean we already have a planet with known life. Us. We already have an example. We have a sample size of all of 8 fucking planets. One of those having life. You extrapolate that out, you run into a whole lot of planets that are likely to support life. Of course, you think everything's magically created and it couldn't exist somewhere else, but given that everything we know about life is explicitly dependent on chemical reactions, it stands very well to reason that whatever process was the most successful aspect of abiogenesis, or any of them that could be successful, can and will have happened on other worlds with similar qualities, or different ones if we're going through different processes of other potential organic constructs. Because there's a lot of options out there, buddy. A lot of options.
I would say, no, there can't be. Actually, God made the sun, moon, and stars for signs and seasons for the earth, the Bible tells us. And it's interesting, on day 4 of creation, when he made the stars, it's sort of...
Yeah, Crypto, it'd be like the South Park episode Starvin' Marvin in Space, where they the missionaries go to Marklar and they try to Marklar the Marklars. And then the Marklars tried to Marklar, and it wasn't very Marklar. So they just Marklared the Marklars, and then the Marklars went back to Marklar. Got it?
Sort of like a little an aside. Oh, by the way, I just made a few stars for you, like a few trillion galaxies out there. And people say, but if there's so many planetary bodies out there.
No, Tangelo, life is just chemistry. This idea of information, an analogy used to help people understand DNA and understand the principles of how these long chemical chains reacting the way they do can form something like an arm, a leg, your skin tone, your hair, whatever. Like any analogy, y'all have completely distorted it and just turned into a perversion of what its original role was. I do not subscribe to the analogy construct in genetic material whatsoever. It is chemicals doing what chemicals do, period.
Why do you make them if it wasn't for, aliens to live on them out there too? Well, the Bible tells us the heavens declare the glory of God. God is infinite in power, infinite in wisdom. I mean, infinite in knowledge.
Something I love, Deviant, and I know you know this. The fact that honey never goes bad, so you could literally eat Pharaoh's honey and it'd be fine. And that's just fucking mental. Imagine, you're exploring an ancient tomb. You got some bread on you. You crack in. You're hungry. You find a jar of fucking honey. Slather that shit on there and eat it. The same fucking honey the Pharaoh was eating. Because they didn't put the crappy shit, the generic shit, if they even had any, in with the Pharaoh's tomb. No. That was his private reserve going with him. Fucking love that. Not that I'm much for honey, but
Knowledge. His the eternal creator God who lives outside of time, and he made earth for the sons of men. That's what scripture says. The earth is for the sons of men.
Atangelo, everything about your side of stuff is nothing but stirring of controversy. That's all you guys want. Because every aspect of your theology has been crammed into a tiny little corner of more and more irrelevance. Trying not to be mean to you, man, but you're just coming on here to start stuff. I'm responding for the heck of it. Trying to be nice to you, but man, you're really showing what people have warned me about with you. And I don't want to kick you. I don't hate you. I just... Maybe you want to try to tone it down. Just go along for the ride. Or, I could just ignore you and let everyone else go at it. Because I'm not going to be explicitly mean to you. Yeah. Snarky? Yeah.
And the heavens of the Lord. He made the heavens to declare the glory of God. And even though the universe is so vast and there's trillions and trillions of galaxies, stars out there, that's nothing compared to what God can do. That's just a little bit of his power, so to speak. And so really we stand in awe from earth and look out there and say, wow, God did that. How great God is. Now, there's a theological reason why I do not believe aliens exist out there in outer space. The Bible tells us that God's Son became a member of the human race. He became the God-man and remains the God-man to be our Savior, to pay the penalty for our sin.
So, Ken, we can have a God-man, but we can't have an ape-man? You want to rethink that? You want to rethink that? You got all the time you need. Yeah, you can sit there being confused. Just using your own logic against you. Just keep thinking about it, Ken. I know my audience knows what I'm going with this.
Then die on a cross, be raised from the dead. He didn't become the God Klingon or something else. And if there's aliens out there in outer space and they suffer from Adam's sin.
I just want to go on record as saying that I generally like Star Trek First Contact, which I think is where that clip of the Borg Queen came from. I remember her being really slimy in that film. Borg are disturbing because the living tissue is barely alive, especially her. It's pretty horrific. It's like sleeping next to a corpse. Or my ex. But, yeah. Star Trek's pretty cool. Bit more into Star Wars, but I like Star Trek. I forget what Ken was honestly talking about. He's just rambling on with bullshit.
Because the Bible says the whole creation groans because of sin. And one day there's going to be a new heavens and a new earth, and he's going to basically wind this heavens and earth up like a scroll and make a new heavens and new earth. Well, they would be under judgment because of Adam's sin, but they can't be saved because only Adam's race can be saved. There's no...
Okay, so how would they... Wow, your theology's ridiculous. But of course, you make up all these stories just to dispel anything that would call your religion into question. Why in the fuck would aliens be held responsible for man's sin, as you call it? Man's sin. But they're not worthy of being saved. What the fuck kind of sense is that? And you're supposed to be one of the best in the field? Am I being trolled here? This is ludicrous. All creationist arguments are. Special this. Ignore that. Nuh-uh this. Yuh-huh that. Whatever they can do to retard the march of progress. It'd be hilarious if it wasn't so pathetic and dangerous. Oh. Fuck. I think I've already reached my limit.
Salvation for the angels. It's only Adam's race that can be saved. Think of how privileged we are as humans, that God loved us so much that he would step into history to be the God-man, to die on the cross, be raised from the dead, so we can go back to be with him for eternity. Wow. Now, if people ask me, do I believe in UFOs? I say,
For the last time, Otangelo, it literally doesn't. Analogies are not literal statements. Period. Look up what an analogy is. Then get over yourself.
absolutely. I do believe in UFOs. Any object out there that's flying around that can't be identified is a UFO. And so anything that we can't explain flying around there is an unidentified flying object. But do I believe in little green men from Mars flying spaceships around? No, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in aliens coming to Earth flying spaceships around or anything like that. There's certainly things we can't explain, but no, there are no aliens out there. Did I tell you my answer was no?
Yeah. Funny that so many claim to have seen UFOs, but God is still unseen. Is he being held against his will at Area 51? Seriously. It's got to be being held somewhere.
There's absolutely no aliens out there whatsoever. Wow, did aliens come to Earth to create ancient wonders that still exist today? Watch this video to see what's really going on.
Okay, so that was definitely one of the things of all time. Take a moment with the chat. You know, I've thrown out plenty of wrenches. If anyone with a wrench is in the chat and happens to want to do things, feel free. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying I ain't gonna do it. That's all. Oh shit, I totally missed Rosina send in a $1.99 super chat. YouTube is not a dating app. As Deviant had said earlier, I had noticed she had said it could be with a few changes. And you know, you think it'd work pretty well. You think Facebook dating would work pretty well, but no, holy fuck. But once again, that goes with my idea that everyone in the Memphis area is fucking mental. That being said, let's just see if we have anything of interest. Nope, just I was double checking Kent's channel. Got that Pastor Meister going on. Open mic challenge. And, you know, a few other things here or there. Nothing of value, though. Nothing of value. Devian, are you sure they haven't? Let's talk to a former DALer who responds, the weight of the stones at the Great Pyramid said as if it was completely normal. Makes sense, there were giants back then. Hey, barely Protestant in the chat. Just got in the chat. Ken Am claims there are no aliens. Is he not aware of Kent Hovind? BP, you might be pleased to know I brought you up again in a video coming out. It's members only right now about from I forget the name of the channel, but it's things to say to atheists, like a way to have positive interactions. And I brought mine and yours up as an example of, you know, once people get a feel for each other, they can become incredibly friendly, even if they'll disagree on subjects like theology and maybe some social issues where, you know, that's discussion to be had at another point in time. Just, you know, because you remember in the video how I warmed up to you. And I was kind of like, yeah, you know, these are fine examples. You know, the video will be public tomorrow afternoon, so everyone can see it. But yeah, you got brought up as a fine example of everyone doing things right. Oh man, I got chat for days hanging out here. Facebook is an AI-generated nightmare filled with Jesus freaks. VP, it's the Memphis area. Those women are insane. Verifying. Sydney saying, I like playing with simple-minded theists who make bad claims about science. Always a fun time. Oof. Brock might want to reconsider based on what I've seen and evidence I've heard. But if you want to take the challenge, do it. And yeah, you're very welcome, early Protestant. I'll always suggest people check out your stuff for what is most definitely a very unique perspective that I think I've said it before, I can get behind. Even not being religious, not being theist, there are certain religious perspectives where I'm like, if this is the truth, I can roll with this. It's better than other stuff I've heard. And and that I'd consider that a definite not trying to be egotistical, but that's definitely a compliment when I say it. Idea is just creation in a masquerade costume. Yep. Big by Mama the Deviant. Didn't Hovind say the giant stones were lifted with sound waves? Shit, maybe. So many generated shrimp Jesus post. Seriously. Carrot Jesus. Yep. Big bad Mama. Saying hey to Slitno Tangelo. And me and Sydney. Tangelo saying hey to Big bad Mama. Everyone loving the BBM? Because we all love the BBM. No joke, I've actually had decent luck with women on Facebook dating. Well, honestly, BP, you're a pretty okay looking guy. Not the troll that I am. I'm not the most conventionally attractive dude. We'll just be real. That's probably me just being hard on myself. Oh man, it's Creationist City up in here. There are no riches in chat. Stacy was the only one. Aw, man. Oh, well. So far, nothing crazy is going on. I think about it. I could live stream on my phone after this stream. Yes, you could. And of course, I believe in aliens. Those aliens coming over the border. Oh, God. Yeah, that does sound like some Kent Hovind crap. You know what? Do we want to do it? Do we want to go to last night's open mic? Just going to let the chat decide. Because it's y'all deciding for me. It's not me deciding, even though I make the final selection. Do we want to end on a Hovind? Call me Tina because I'm a fat lard. Oh, y'all see why I like this guy? It just there's an energy about it that just matches with the rest of us. It's just you got much love from me, man. Actually, I know exactly what I brought up, BP. Now that I think about it, when you ended in the Guild Wars stream and said the Jesus loves you line, I had brought up that actually has value and meaning to me as a person in much the same way as my religious friends at work, if they were to say the same, would have value to me because I value you. And I know it comes from a place of good rather than any kind of position of a passive hostility, which you find with so many other kinds of people. That was just one example. I know I had brought that up in that. I try to give everything. It may not seem like I try to give stuff a fair shake, but I feel like I do. I really just want to express my feelings on things. And sometimes it's through crudity and sometimes it's through being as genuine as possible. So yeah. Serge saying aliens are in the Bible. That would be interesting to look into. We're not here for that right now, but I'll look into stuff. Popping up with some chats. Why did I say yes to that? Why do I hate myself so much? Warms my heart. Glad to hear it. I'm glad I can, I don't want to say make you feel better. Whatever, make you feel the feeling that you're feeling. Because, as I constantly stress, I can jive with the core personal aspect of religion and the way it can make people feel. What I don't jive with is when it starts trying to cause problems for the rest of the world, which is sadly more often than not. Harambe loves you too. Yes. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Deviant Outcast saying hi to Barely Protestant. See, we got a nice little community here. And really, I said before, I'll say it again. It always means a lot to me, Barely Protestant, when you pop up in the chat. It's like he's taking time out of his day to come here and listen to my atheist self ramble on. That is so cool. It's like, okay, I can even attract, another theist. And while, again, we're not going to disagree on some key fundamentals, he knows, for example, I'm not going to go after his worldview because it's not something to clash on versus someone like Hovind, Ken Ham, where it's just like, you guys are way out there. But all right. Getting Ken.
Good evening, folks.
God. It's almost a palate cleanser from the way everything else has been. Whole idea of being Christian is the alien idea. The Bible constantly says the Christ followers are not of this world and are just passing through. Well, that is an interesting concept. And I do mean that genuinely. That's an interesting perspective to look at it. Oh, I don't have that kind of energy right now. We're not going to open that can of worms. Santa loves me. He has primordial coal. I got a bunch again this year. You know what I want? I want a nice, okay, first off, I want some coal from the Titanic. But second, I want a nice big hunking sample of anthracite. And I mean like anthracite from the veins in Pennsylvania that include the one that's burning in Centralia. I just want a piece just because I think it's cool and it has a really cool name. Anthracite. Primo coal. Well, primal coal is cool. It's like Primal Rage. Chariots of the Gods is one of my favorite books. I don't believe it, but it's wild and fun as sci-fi. Yeah, seriously, that was a great read when I was a kid. Lost my copy. Still don't have another one, but man, that was some cool stuff. I really enjoyed the whole alien thing when I was younger. And I believe there's some kind of life out there. But complex life, visiting Earth and just hanging around like, what up? Check out my flying saucer. I hot-rodded this baby back in Alpha Centauri. Nah, not going to happen. Not how things are. But all right, Kent Hovind. Let's see. He's updated his slides to have the text, the dumbest and most dangerous religious cult, in yellow now. Yellow. Piss yellow. Like the piss he's full of. Not piss and vinegar, just piss. Just checking one more time. Do you guys really want me to go through this? Like, really? I mean, I feel like I'm going to need a few more super chats and some stuff and some more motivation, if you know what I mean, to tolerate Hovind after the dude earlier. Because let me tell you, this takes a lot out of a man. I could be playing Guild Wars right now. I could be streaming Guild Wars right now. But instead, I'm here. All right, let's do this crap.
Good evening, folks. Kent Hovind here in the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland in lovely Lenox, Alabama. It is January the 3rd, 2025. Tonight, open mic again. For you evolutionist atheists, please call in. We want to get you converted.
God, the audio is atrocious, and the lighting is way off. Also, apparently, he's been playing with his globe.
I believe evolution is the dumbest and most dangerous religious cult in the history of the world. Them's fighting words. Prove me wrong. Come on.
Them's fighting worlds. Over.
On, bring it on. Okay, January 3rd. This is Joe's birthday, Joe Hovind's birthday. We should sing our famous Dinosaur Adventureland birthday song. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is your birthday song. It isn't very long. Happy birthday, Joe. Amen. Okay. The Bible says, in the beginning. Oh, I forgot. Very important announcement. People are always making models of things, like a model of the moon.
Well, thank you, Sergey. I always want to say Serge and Sergey. I can be very reasonable in stuff. It's just, one, I do play a bit of a character online. But two, it all depends on how you approach stuff with me. But because I have a very low tolerance for just outright debatably idiocy, depending on one's perspective. But when someone approaches something that seems interesting and seems novel, I am definitely more apt to listen to it. That's really a key thing about here is the novelty of things. Rather pick up the phone and prank call people. You know, I just don't have it in me. You think I would, and I have ways to do it and be pretty much immune to stuff, but just don't have it in me. The author of Chariots of the Gods was arrested for tax evasion during his youth and embezzlement when he worked as a hotel employee. His previous employers weren't too pleased about it. Interesting. Rarely Protestant sent a buck my way via super chat. Thank you so very much. Oh, we got more in there. Oh, we're coming up on them. Coming up on them. Important announcement. Is he getting married again? Yeah. Oh man. Did Sandra divorce you this time? Nismo sending $20 Australian. Here we fucking go. Okay. We're committed to this. That's past my internal threshold. We are good. Kent should say giggity when he wears that red shirt. Dude, seriously. He's like 2 steps away from being a really ridiculous Glenn Quagmire. Sure, Joe is very happy to be celebrated and put on the limelight by her abuser ex-husband on her birthday. Fuck you, Kent. Fuck you and your neck pussy. What did we determine it was called? Or you guys determined it? I was just the venue for the discussion, for the great meeting. A nussy? I think that was what we determined. Brock asking, how do I get StreamYard to work? We'll have to go through that at some point. I don't quite have the time to explain it here because I have to go through the entire process. Like I have to do it myself to get it to happen. How to roll in asteroids here? Hey, Jess, it was. Right? It's gonna piss on the moon to prove water can create craters on the moon. Nussy. Nunt. That was it. Nunt is what was said. Nintendo. Nintendo is definitely better than Kent's neck. On mobile. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't know quite how that goes, Brock. Listening while fighting sleep. Dog walker, get yourself to sleep. It is 12:30 over there. Your clock is doing that whole 0027 thing. Because y'all use that 24-hour clock. And I'm like, gotta convert. Gotta do some complex internal math. We almost got it. Hot take, the characters as characters in Family Guy are hilarious. The jokes in Family Guy, well, South Park critiques them well. Oh God, Sydney, I did. I'm sorry. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. There it is. You don't tell me what to do. Oh, it's the blue threw me off. Because Barely Protestants it's a different shade of blue, but the blues, my brain just immediately latched onto the blue-green as that. Oh, I apologize. I am having a day. It is indeed 0028. All right, let's get going with 0645 2017.
Somebody gave us a model of the Earth, a globe, a model of the Earth with a canopy over the top. Brother, I have a model of the
Earth with a canopy over the top. Kent, that's a goddamn snow globe. Bro, that's the kind of logic of flat earthers using the UN flag, that AE projection, I think it is, as a map of the flat Earth. Come on, Kent. Oh.
Entire universe 17.22 billion years ago. Here it is, a dot in the middle of the page. Can you see it? No, you can't see it because it isn't there, because it was so tiny, smaller than a period on a page. Whole universe was in that dot. Yeah, you believe that? You need your head examined. Come on.
We got some quality snark here from Barely Protestant. The Earth's globe. Your mom's a globe. Oh, old but gold. Some classic stuff. Oh.
Oh, I apologize. I'm still coughing.
Whoa! Those were big coughs there, Kent. Oh, man. So now you're going to get mad over YouTube shorts? All right, bro. Let's see how this goes.
No, from a... Right. Let's see. Open my... Yesterday.
Oh, there we go. The stream just went to crap. Oh. Oh, man. It's always funny when it just completely gives up. It's like the universe is saying, nope, not this time, Hovind. Oh, you know, I meant to leave a note to call Joseph today. To go on and call 855 Big Dino Extension. Oh, God, I forgot to hit play. Call 855 Big Dino Extension 4 and talk with him just to see how it would go. Because I think it was during the open mic Thursday. I actually went in and people were complaining about the sound issue because there was no sound from the callers. You could hear it slightly reverbing in the church, but it was mostly unintelligible. And I had to comment, people, hey guys, give Joseph and the tech team a break. They're trying. I was being genuinely nice because they have to work with Kent. I'm not even trying to be funny here. Kent requires so much special accommodation for the way he presents stuff and the way he has to interact with the slides, the audience, everything, that it has to be a nightmare of a system. And those guys are doing everything they can. I'll laugh at the tech problems. And I think I said this in the chat. Like, I'll laugh about the tech problems, but I'm not going to give Joseph and them crap over it. I'm not sure I could do better given the situation. I'm amazed they can get the stuff they got going on. So, we can have our beef, but I'm going to have beef over that, I guess. So, like I said, I wanted to call and eventually talk with them about, like, what's going on, just friend to friend, not friend to friend, but like tech guy to tech guy, almost being friend to friend, just to, I guess, demonstrate that, hey, my crazy, profane, atheist self can actually be very nice and possibly helpful, or at least provide encouragement, even if that encouragement goes towards helping promote the views of somebody who I find irreprehensible. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. Let's continue.
Science said also he can love his car, but it does not say anything about they could still be very well abysmal. Good point. I said, true. That's exactly what evolutionists don't get, and its limits. Science means knowledge. We know cows produce cows. We do not know that cows came from an amoeba, which came from a rock, which came from a dot of nothing for no reason. Thank you. Appreciate that, Daniel. Let's see, then science is a method. Well, you can define it any way you want. The word science means knowledge gained by observation, experimentation, and testing. So a method. They're trying to stretch it to try to include evolution. They want their religion sucked in with science. No, evolution's a religion, nothing else. Let's see. Dear Kent, could you please repeat your definition of the word cult? One where evolution is considered a cult, but your Hovindian.
Yeah, Hovindian, as in originating of Hovind, or whatever the hell I want it to be, because words are like that. You know what it means, Kent. You act all confused. Words. Oh, right, I forgot. He only speaks English to a limited degree. I clearly only speak it to a limited degree, too, but that's because of the tism.
Like, Cherokee. I don't know. Isn't. I'm sure you have a method. I mentioned it sometime. I probably just missed it because of the suboptimal audio that occurs quite frequently during.
Please continue with the wonderful comedy. We definitely need it around here because we're not going to get any good comedy from 0645-2017.
Your streams. He's making fun of you guys there. Okay.
No, Kent. No. You're the problem in all this. You are the tech problem. if I can figure out how to do reasonably decent streams between OBS, between StreamYard, Restream, with the crap I'm working with, there is no reason the tech guys at DAL can't do something amazing. And they've done a great service to your streams. You are the problem because you make things unnecessarily complicated, because it shouldn't fail like this. And clearly at points it works fine, meaning you wanting to do something different, you changing things is what fucks stuff up. Because anyone who knows tech knows the moment you get something working, you stop messing with it. Once it's good, it's good. Windows wants to update? Hell nah. Oh, you got a new Linux distribution? We're waiting on that motherfucker. Unless you need the security or something, which you guys don't need. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's a reason the world's transactions still run on mainframe systems that are emulating operating systems from 50 years ago. Or at least operating environments from 50 years ago, I should say. Nah, Kent, you're the problem.
Audio. That's suboptimal. Okay. A big thank you in advance. Well, Daniel, is that the same Daniel did the other one? Daniel, JV. Yeah, same guy. Same question. Okay, let's see. What is a cult? It's a term often used to describe a group with distinct.
Deviant popping up that Joseph's a misogynistic asswipe. I get that not everyone has the same experience as I do, and that my opinion is colored now how I acted towards me, but act misogynistic, showing misogyny tendencies. Yeah, I actually kind of forgot about that, and I apologize. Yeah, I definitely do not appreciate that at all from anyone. So yeah, he's still an asshole for that. Ken ignores the part that mentions a leader. Good point. Very good point. A cult is a term often used to describe a group with distinctive beliefs and high levels of commitment, but its definition can vary wildly. Academically, a cult can be synonymous with a denomination or sect, but in popular usage, it often refers to authoritarian groups that practice mind control or brainwashing. Cults typically have a charismatic leader who centralizes beliefs, behaviors, and customs, and they may isolate members from the outside world. From a psychological perspective, cults often target vulnerable individuals looking for acceptance and meaning, using tactics like love bombing to recruit and retain members. Whoo, boy, if that don't define DAL.
Beliefs and high levels of commitment. That's evolution. You got to believe these charts. You got to believe you're related to a potato and a banana. You got to believe all that stuff to be part of their cult. And you have to believe in the stupid geologic column. All the layers are different ages. Even though I keep asking, if the top layer is younger, where is it coming from?
Shut the fuck up, Kent.
Outer space? Yeah, so it's a cult. Actually, academically, a cult can be synonymous with a denomination or sect, but in popular usage, it often refers to authoritarian groups that practice mind control or brainwashing. Boy, that's evolution. Are you being brainwashed by your science book? Are they making you believe you came from a potato or came from an amoeba and you're related to a banana? They're making you believe that in school? That's a brainwashing technique. Get my little booklet, Are You Being Brainwashed? If you want a whole lot more on that.
I should do a small stream, a video, or something on the whole DAL is totally a cult. I'm a little behind on that, honestly, but add my thoughts to the mix as I yawn. Now everyone in the chat's going to yawn.
Quite a few books on our website, drdino.com. You can get to help unbrainwash your kids. We got a series to help. If your kids go to public school, help. I'm being taught evolution in my earth science class.
Oh, God, another great one from Crypto. Kent can't even love bomb correctly. He just body slams people and recruits half the cast of Deliverance and The Hills Have Eyes. Oh, it's pretty messed up down there.
Help, I'm being taught evolution in my biology class. What do I do? Parents, we're parents. How do we help with the school?
Kent's registered as a homeless shelter? What was that about targeting vulnerable individuals? Exactly.
School system. Many teachers are just as frustrated as we are about the stupid stuff in the textbooks that they're required to teach. Help them out. Get on your school board and vote that stuff out. Just get science in the science class.
But remind me that, Christianity isn't dangerous when it reaches these levels. Keep on making apologies for stuff when people want to deny science, full stop. Deny reality, full stop. Just completely. Yet this man went to the hospital when he got bit by that bug.
That's it. You don't need evolution. It's a religion. Anyway, that's a call. Let's see. Kent, why are you so dishonest? Somebody commented, quote him for...
Send some prayers to Barely Protestant. They met Hovind as a kid. Foo boy. Grew up fundy. I was fortunate enough to not have his influence in my life.
Verbatim exactly where he was dishonest. I would agree. I'd like to know. What are you talking about?
Well, to do that, Kent, we pretty much have to recite your entire video. That's how dishonest you constantly are.
The geezer writes in which element of his diatribe is he dishonest according to you? You do not stipulate anything at all, because you can't. You're just blowing hot air. I agree. Geezer, good job. Apologize for the cough here. It'll get better when it quits, okay? One of the problems with Kent is that he loves to play Hume while he's bloviating to his unfortunately quite often naive young Earth creation audience. Well, I'll talk about a guy who has an image of himself pretty smart, don't you? Tell you what, you're smarter than all of us. We know that. So I will humbly try to...
Uh-oh. Is he going to challenge him to a debate? You're going to challenge him to a debate, guys.
Submit and let you have a debate with me. I'll try to...
There we go. Always Kent's answer to everything. Have a debate online with me, because all of reality is settled in YouTube debates on Donnie's channel. Only person full of themselves here is you, Kent. Thinking that everyone wants to debate you, thinking that it's some badge of honor, thinking that it has any value anywhere outside of your ego. That's why I don't call you. If there was actually if any of this was actually a debate, it'd be, something, but it's not. You just create the illusion of it being something worth debating. But it really needs debating me and my yawning. That's how bored I get during these streams. But what was I saying? Right. Even if there was a reason to debate you, it wouldn't actually be worth it given the way you behave. You just talk at people. You don't interact with them. Not unless you're pretty much forced to. And then you get desperate. No one should bother debating you at this stage, Kent. And that's me saying that people should finally give up on debating you. Because I usually say let anything go for as long as it can, but at this stage, forget it. I want you to get desperate for debates. Because you're the one who wants debates, not us. You're the one who wants them. And that's why no one should bother debating you at this stage, because everyone's just giving you what you want. And I'm better than that. Not to downplay other people who debate you. It's usually fun when they do it. But just saying in principle. But if AJ wants to tear into you again, Dave wants to tear into you again, I'll definitely watch. Let's keep going.
I hold my own. Watch this guy. If he calls in, put him on the air right away. Slyan Niche New Muse. Well, muse means to think, okay? And if you believe in evolution, you're not thinking, okay? That's amuse, to not think, okay? This causes the arguments he makes, and the question...
It'd definitely be different, you debating him, BP. Definitely different case. Of course, he would never debate theology. He's obsessed with explicitly having someone, give their evidence for evolution and then tearing it apart. That's just the nature of his stuff.
Questions he poses.
I mean, I know you know that, but it's one of those cases where it's like a pipe dream. Like, oh, you'd love to challenge him on his own views of things. Like, I would legitimately love to see you and him get into it over just straight up theology, especially with the unique position you're in. It would be awesome, but it'll never happen. But I would totally be there, right on your side for it.
Is to often blur the line between disingenuous and dishonest. That's still a slap and run technique, you coward. Call in with some real honest quotes, okay? Show me where I'm dishonest and show me where the evidence is for evolution. It's you evolutionists that are dishonest. You claim there's evidence for
Hey, Ers, how you doing, buddy?
evolution. There isn't any. All they have to support their dumb theory are lies. Get my video, Lies in the Textbooks, video number 4 of the series that we have on science in the Bible. There's 30 or 40 some lies in just about every textbook. Same lies over and over. We cover them all in here. Expose them. So, please, call in. We'd love to have you. If you get anybody calls in, brother, let me know right away. We got a couple questions. Okay, a couple questions. You can call. From Maurice. My wife recently finished her teaching degree and was taught that the book of Genesis regarding creation was made up to get more people excited. What? The book of Genesis was written by 10 eyewitness authors. God wrote the first chapter. Adam wrote a couple chapters.
You know, it's funny when people will be gaming and I'll be streaming. And I say it's funny because back when I watched Drunken Peasants a decade ago, back when it was really good and, freshly starting, when it still had Amazing Atheist on there, really fun show. And I would be playing Destiny nonstop. Wow, that was on, and I just loved it. It was a Wednesday night ritual. Get off work from Toys R Us at the time, watch DP, and oh, I had a friend who made jokes about that all the time. Watch DP and play Destiny, and that was some good times. Some good times. I was there for the French vanilla situation. 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, 3 is for the manatee. At this stage, if you look up Brett Keane, all you get are classic Drunken Peasants clips and stuff. I don't even know where that clown is doing content these days. But that's neither here nor there. It's just people playing games while listening to me stream is just so awesome. It's like, yes, you're maximizing your enjoyment. Love it. Your mom wrote a couple of chapters. Nice.
Get my video number 7 of my series, What on Earth's About to Happen. I cover that. Who wrote the book of Genesis? No, you tell her to have her teachers call me, and I'll debate all of them at the same time.
There's be sure to specify which Mass Effect Barely Protestant wants to know. Because our friend here is a gamer, like the rest of us. Seriously, we got some cool people here of all types.
Okay.
And of course, I have a chair that squeaks. Yeah.
Oh, if I get half the time, the Genesis is an eyewitness account of the events that happened in the 6 days of creation, and including the flood. Noah wrote part of Genesis. Goes all the way up to Abraham, keeps going to the end, in Exodus to Moses, the time of Moses. So I'm sorry, the teachers lied to you, ma'am. They lied to you. Don't believe it. To you, what would be the perfect evidence for evolution be? Well, fair question. Let's define what we mean by evolution, first of all.
No, can't. Just answer the question.
Well, exactly what are we talking about? Let's see, slide number 16, if I get back there. Okay. I almost wrote over the whole universe. Just a good thing I went to the other notepad instead, or we'd all be in trouble here. Let's see. Home, there. It depends what you mean by that word evolution. I've done this many times. I'll do it once again just to help you out here. There are 6 different meanings to the word. There's cosmic evolution, the origin of time, space, matter. There's no evidence for that at all. A dot coming from nothing. And the dot contained all the matter and all the energy and all the laws. Yeah, were the centrifugal force laws in there?
Can't laws are just concepts, constructs, descriptions of physical phenomena. And also, matter is just energy. If you don't believe matter is energy, then nuclear weapons aren't a concern of yours, are they? And you can condense energy down pretty much theoretically infinitely. But that's not even an accurate descriptor for cosmological origins, because it's such a weird field. You kind of can't wrap your head around it. And the thing that I would bring up if I was discussing this with Kent is like, you know what? It doesn't even matter. It really doesn't to me. While I think it's a fascinating subject, I really don't give a flying fuck in the grand scheme of importance, as far as information goes, the importance of it, about Big Bang cosmology. Doesn't change my day-to-day life. Really don't care. Not in the way he thinks I would care and thinks people need to care. Anyway.
Then chemical evolution, stellar, organic, macro, and micro. And I've said thousands of times, microevolution should not be called that. It's just a variation of the same kind. Dogs produce a variety of dogs within limits. You're going to get, big ones and little ones, but you never get a dog as big as.
Ah, yes, Kent, your oh so lovely limits that, yet again, I must stress, are always physical limits. You never specify an explicit genetic limitation of something that just can't occur. There's a reason you can't do that, and you don't do that.
Planet Jupiter. There are limits.
Oh, he moved on from Texas to fucking planet Jupiter size. Really, dude? He's losing it. Like this, we're watching the end of Kent Hovind. He's not going to be around much longer because every day he's getting noticeably worse and worse.
That one is observable, but it should just be called a variation. So back to your question. Oh, I apologize. Here, let's see. There. Perfect evidence solution. I don't think it can be given because you'd have to prove every species, every animal turned into something else, and watch the steps happen. See, science is what we can observe.
And see, there he goes, non-answering the question. Because by answering the question, he'd either confirm his already well-known complete lack of understanding of the concept itself, or would inadvertently say something that is explicitly concordant with evolution and has probably been demonstrated to him numerous times and he hasn't gotten it.
Observe, study, test, demonstrate. We can observe the effects of gravity. We can measure it. We can test it over and over and over. We can make laws about it. We do not observe any animal change.
BP, real talk, definitely work on your sermon. If you feel it needs more work, definitely go at it. Chess is cool, and I appreciate you listening to me, but you've got a job to do. Don't, my videos will be around, my back-end stuff will be around, unless something happens to me, we'll have more stuff all the time. You focus on what's important, whatever you choose that to be. But from the way you phrased it by, stressing your sermon verse, listening to me and playing chess, while chess is amazing. I feel the sermon's obviously given a very high status, and given that I know what you do, yeah, definitely give that a focus, my friend.
Changing to any other kind of animal. It's not observed. It's a religious belief. Believe it if you want. I don't care. But don't call it science. And I don't want to pay to have that taught in the schools like it's part of science. You're wasting classroom time. Right? So I tell you what, instead of me having to tell you what I would call...
Oh, man, I'm actually somewhat curious on what material you'd be pulling from this. Oh, man. Kind of worried at the same rate, but... Oh, man. I feel like I'm helping, though. That's a plus. Because I definitely don't want to hinder your particular efforts and your sphere of influence on things. I like to put up boundaries like that. It's... Okay, I'm not gonna fight my friends.
perfect evidence. You provide the best evidence you've got, and I'll tell you if it's perfect or not. How's that? Go ahead. Crybaby, back again.
See, just pulling up awesome concepts. Jesus like Commander Shepard. Sweet stuff. And you know, I like that because as funny as it sounds, it's, you know, the classic case of trying to relate teachings to what is hip, what is trendy, what is popular, to make things seem less just stagnant, less stuck in, you know, 2,000 plus years ago. But at the same rate, it comes from a genuine position when you do it, with me having, you know, been exposed to your background. Just in, again, that one video where you point out all your books, your collections of stuff, knowing that you're geeky like the rest of us. It's super cool. And so I know you're coming at it from a genuine perspective, and you can build that analogy and help people understand the message you're trying to get across through this work of interactive fiction. And that's pretty dang cool. Like I said, I can get behind that.
We get audio better on him tonight.
And let's keep in mind here that I class myself as anti-theist, generally in the broader scope against religion. But again, I have that bit of soft spot for certain interpretations, certain values, and certain personal holdings to stuff, to where I can't say I'm completely that way. It's really complicated. Maybe my emotions play a bigger role in it than they should. But, you know, it's just where I stand, where I feel. You know, I'll sit there and support somebody who I think is in the long run doing good, even if it goes against some broader thoughts. Don't read too deep into that, but I think we all know where we have those little lines that we'll draw for stuff, and we'll just be like, nah, this is still okay. Because, you know, everything's got like a priority to it, if you will. It's like, do I really want to make a big fuss about this aspect when I find it being this beneficial? Not really.
Now, you could put some lights. Hi. Crybaby, you could put lights on the other side of you like I do. You know, you don't have to have them behind you.
Oh, shut up, Kent. This man's broadcasting from his freaking room. You've got a whole studio set up here. Shut up.
Well, I don't have a table out there.
You don't have a table?
Yeah, to put the lamp on. I mean, I'll try something for next time.
Yeah, life is rough, and then you die. So.
Hey, Kent, I'd like to talk about the.
Dang, I went through all that, and it isn't even the actual topic of the sermon. Oh my God, I feel like a clown now. Oh, but that's still, y'all got a slice of how I feel about things. Because I try to be open and honest with everybody here, while I be a jerk to Kent. But you know, it's just how I am. Yep, creationist crybaby. I think they've seen my streams a few times. I'm not entirely sure, but I think they have.
Pangea a little bit in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Now I know that you think that the continents just happen to be that shape, though they seem to fit together: North America, Europe, Africa, and South America. And I know you say that's a coincidence. Okay, go ahead.
Let's take it a little bit at a time, okay?
Yeah.
You can call up my video number 6, okay? On seminar part 6, I talk about that very thing. In order to make these continents fit together, Africa and South America, they shrank Africa 40%. These are not in the Pangea pictures they show. And I'll get a picture of it here.
Well, we know like Central America and South America, a lot of volcanism has occurred since Pangea formed. So
we don't know that Pangea
and it broke apart. Yeah, go ahead.
We don't know
so that would be new. Yeah, go ahead.
You're making an assumption. You're basing it all on an assumption. Okay, we don't know that Pangea ever existed at all. Pangea, for those that may not know, is the idea that all the continents fit together and they moved, okay, and broke apart over millions of years, of course.
I mean, the continents happen to fit the shape of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, too, if you look at it closely. They fit very closely to the shape of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge.
There's a reason why. Yes, I'll get to it. Man, I've got
And furthermore, if I can add this, the mountain belts on either side fit together. The Appalachians in America, the Ouachita Mountains in America, fit the fold belts of the Little Atlas Mountains in Morocco, and the Scottish Highlands, and the mountains in Norway, even mountains in Greenland and Newfoundland. The fossils match on all those mountain ranges. They have about the same amount of erosion. Go ahead, I'll let you
this is the typical textbook picture of Pangea. I forget what the word.
I'm just enjoying where this is going.
Comes from originally. It doesn't matter. Okay. Evidence of evolution of dinosaurs. They talk about Pangea breaking apart 200 million years ago. You can arrange all the continents and make a chicken out of it if you want. You know, you could probably move them around. See, the shapes of the continents is a pure coincidence based on the water level.
Yeah, but we do have the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, which matches the shape as well.
I agree, and there's a reason for that. Okay. They say Africa and
Hey, Creationist Crybaby's in the chat. Hello, welcome to the party. And this was a good one to ask. I always enjoy when you pop in because you're just so calm and can't get so out of shape. It's kind of great.
South America seem to be a perfect fit. If you take the water off of this planet, you will notice there's dirt underneath everywhere. Okay, you couldn't find the continents if all the water was gone. You couldn't find them. All the oceans in the world would be a drop.
Pangea is my favorite Pokemon. Nice.
Up about that size compared to the planet. So the continent, you see the Mid-Atlantic Ridge there. See, South America is 6.9 million square miles. Africa is 11.6 million square miles. And where's Mexico, Panama, Costa Rica, all the continents?
Well, those were volcanic, volcanically created after that time period. Right. So they wouldn't be part. They wouldn't be part of. They were formed through subduction zones that still exist.
Took me a second to look it up. Kent, I just wanted to bring up that the map from Elder Scrolls Dragonfall is around Daggerfall. Sorry, got Guild Wars on the brain. Is around, quite literally, 160,000 square kilometers. What does that mean? Tell me what that means, Kent. Where it plays into all this. Because let me tell you, I have a friend who walked Daggerfall. It's big. Don't know what point I'm trying to make there. I just wanted to bring up a geeky reference. Because that's the first thing I thought of when he brought up the square area of these continents. And it's like, well, Daggerfall.
Just off of Central America and South America. There's a subduction zone off of southern Mexico, Central America. There's active volcanoes all down the Andes Mountains of
very familiar with that.
South America.
What he's trying to say is when two continents come together and one gets sucked under the other one, it's called a subduction zone, okay? If they collide and
I don't think Kent even has an idea of what he's talking about here.
Bulge up, it makes some ridge of mountains, or the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Africa is
well, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge is, let me correct you there, Kent, real quick, if I may. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge is a spreading center where new magma is coming up and new lithosphere, which is crust plus.
Justin, how you doing? Glad I'm still live. This has been going on for 2 hours already, so I'm a little burnt out, but we're just having some fun. I got paid enough to continue with doing some Hovind, even though I said I wouldn't. So you're here for the tail end of fun.
The upper mantle is being created. So where you would have continent to continent collision would be the Himalayas, India smashing into the Eurasian continent, or Italy smashing into Europe to create the Alps. Those were from, yeah.
Look at this drawing from a.
I am totally in support. Barely Protestant's idea. I should make an OnlyFans of just me doing morning and evening prayer. Seriously. Seriously. That would be great. I just love zany ideas like that. Like I actually thought about starting one where I just literally just talk to people. Just perfectly normal stuff. I know it'd go nowhere, but just doing one that's actually for its original purpose would be hilarious. Yeah, I get to hang out with Caruso Tomato. Yeah. You can see my cat. I got my cat in bio, if you know what I mean. And then I just show Dwayne or Cormier or Kit, maybe Genbu or Mimi. Ken saying Africa was shrunk 40%. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't changes in sea level a thing that happens? That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking. Fun fact from Sydney Raptor, New Zealand now has their own continent, Zealandia. Bloody Kiwis, we're never going to hear the end of it. When can't use words like shrunk and became, you can bet he's not being honest. No, he is not. I think you can do a non-adult OnlyFans. That's the way it originally was supposed to be. It was supposed to literally be a place for like celebrities or influencers to have like a members specialty kind of thing, and it just became Smut City. Which, again, I'm not intrinsically against such content at all, but I just, I get tired of it eventually, just being constantly thrown in my face. If I want to seek the stuff, I'll go seek it out. I don't need 15 bots subscribing to me on every social platform and being like, hey, come see my link in bio, link in bio, link in bio. And the censorship of the name is so ridiculous. This weird self-censorship thing that everyone does is just fucking stupid to me. There's a Thunderfoot vid that destroys Ken's misunderstanding of the ocean floor. I'm going to have to go back and check that out. I'm going to need to rewatch some classic Thunderfoot, see if there's any old gems in there for me to take a look at. Obviously not contradicting Thunderfoot, but more of just little things to pick and pull from. Outlaw Star is freaking awesome. In the choice between Full Metal Alchemist and Alchemist Brotherhood and Death Note, I never actually watched Brotherhood. I watched the original, but didn't have a chance for Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. You think I would have, but that's at the point where I was starting to not really watch anime anymore. Now all I've done is catch up on older stuff that I've really wanted to, but maybe one day. But I did enjoy Death Note, and I did enjoy Full Metal Alchemist, so I'd imagine I'd like Brotherhood, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, I guess it's here because the chat brought it up, because my chat's awesome. But yeah.
McGraw-Hill Earth Science textbook. Does Africa look 40% larger than South America, or do they look about the same size? They shrank Africa 40% to make them fit, crybaby, okay? They twisted South America one way and twisted Africa the other way. And they don't tell you the obvious, that if you took the water out of the oceans, there's dirt underneath.
Well, yeah, the continental margins.
Well, the continents are not lily pads floating around in a bathtub. The Earth has a solid, continuous crust. It is cracked up.
It's not solid, and you're just admitting the cracks. Kent, plate tectonics is a thing. I know you were born before it was accepted, but it is totally a thing. Quit whining.
Agree. That probably happened at the flood 4,500 years ago, and the continents are still moving a little bit. I agree.
But you have continental crust, and then you have the oceanic crust that's being created at the mid-Atlantic ridge.
Mm-hmm.
And
no comment there, BP. Oh man, that is that's a rough one in the funniest of ways. Whew.
It's spreading out from either side of the mid-Atlantic ridge, spreading apart North America from Europe, South America from Africa. So that is new crust, which is actually lithosphere crust plus the upper mantle, is being created there at the
Crypto, to give you a sense of perspective of the Memphis geek community, they are, half of them are all extreme SJW types at this stage, yet still give that person a pass. Just saying.
Mid-Atlantic ridge. Iceland, we see active volcanism where that we can see the mid-Atlantic ridge, and we can measure the maybe 2.5 centimeters per year, something like that.
It is moving. I agree. Lots of places on the Earth are moving, and there's earthquakes and volcanoes and all that stuff. I understand.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, the oceans have 12,000 feet of water average in them. The narrowest point across between Africa and South America is 1,769 miles. That's the narrowest point.
Kent said 69.
The width of the Atlantic Ocean varies from 1,700 miles and Brazil and Libya to 3,000 miles between the United States and North Africa. So it has a coastline. 2 miles divided by 1,769 miles would be 0.001130.
And Kent pulling his classic, let me just bring up random factoids to make it seem like I know what the hell I'm talking about. It's so transparent.
Ocean were a 300-foot football field wide. The deepest part would be 4 inches deep. That's a comparison here.
Yeah, Vic Mangina.
By the time they draw it in a textbook, it looks like the oceans are huge compared to the width of the ocean. It'd be a 300-foot football field and a 4-inch depth.
Who, I might add, at conventions on Sunday morning runs a little sermon, a little sort of generic Christian church gathering, and has done the stuff he's done. So what's new? Just put everything in perspective.
At the deepest part of the ocean. That's the ratio we're talking about here. So they kind of exaggerated, I think. You have to, for optical purposes, to get people to understand it.
We also... Oh, sorry, Ken. Yeah, we also see...
Yeah, that's a Kent thing that really bugs me, is that he brings up the Earth's rotational speed as a velocity at a given point, at a given latitude, as opposed to just the 15 degree per hour drift, to try to prove some kind of point. Very flurf.
See, sediment thickness at the Mid-Atlantic Ridge is essentially 0.
Yeah, BP, it is not good. Not good at all, and yet people in the Memphis geek community did not care. It's amazing.
Where the new magma is coming up and the new crust is being created. Whereas on the continental margins, we have 10 kilometers, something like that, of sediment that's accumulated because that crust was created 180 million years ago. And we have all these dates from 0 to 180 million years with nothing, no erroneous dates in there on both sides of that ridge. Go ahead.
You're making that statement does not make it true, okay? You're claiming
Well,
this is
they've done the dating.
Same for you, Kent. Get over it. Cry some more, buddy.
And they've written the papers about it.
Oh, they've done and some papers. Okay, I got some papers right here.
Well,
okay.
I mean, that's how science works.
I agree. So they say there's reversed polarity. I point out this is not physically possible. Okay, the Earth, the crust of the core of the Earth would have to spin a different direction.
No, Kent has absolutely no idea about what he's talking about thermodynamics, about anything. The only thing Kent has an idea on is his Hovind theory, because he's the one who made it up.
You can't reverse the spinning ball like that, okay?
Well, it's flow in the outer core. The outer core is still viscous, liquid, so the inner core is solid, but the outer core is liquid. And when it has movements in it, it can reverse the magnetic field. And we see this once every hundreds of thousands of years.
We do not see the magnetic field reverse. What we see is stronger and weaker areas of magnetism. Here's what happened. They dragged the machine across the bottom of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, and they found areas of stronger magnetism, weaker magnetism. They drew a line through the middle.
Everything Kent talks about is basically scientists lie, all scientists do is lie. Constantly cries conspiracy. Also, your source is going to be creationscience.com. Try harder, Kent.
And called everything below normal a reversal. This is baloney. The line should go down here.
Well,
stronger, weaker, stronger.
We can measure when that magma solidifies, when it comes out of the ridge, the magnetic minerals in it, the magnetite and what have you, are the polarity. You can measure the polarity of that. And that polarity does change as you go from line to line to line. And
it's visible. It is literally visible in the material. It's beautiful and kind of terrifying.
Not only do the magnetic stripes match on either side of the ridge,
right?
Their ages match on either side of the ridge. It's very strong evidence for deep time.
The lines may match on opposite sides of the ridge because it was cracked. Walt Brown's book in the beginning and his website, I forget the name of it now, creationscience.com maybe. Anyway, covers.
These guys are all obsessed with the beginning and in the beginning. Back before it became an overplayed single, I was really obsessed with In the End. I knew that was going to be one hell of a single if it was one. You know, tried so hard, got so far, but in the end, doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Linkin Park. I was there when Linkin Park was new. That was an experience.
This in great detail. He's a PhD in physics. He said, look, there's no magnetic reversals. You can't have a reversal. How's the core going to spin the other way? You have stronger, weaker, stronger.
I too miss Chester. I was very upset when I found he had gone to the other side.
Weaker. But I would highly recommend you get that book, creationscience.com. That's his website right in front of
I'll
me.
look for it.
Okay.
I'll look for it.
Earth's magnetic field has declined 10% in the last 150.
Is getting edgy there. Bought the album and enjoy Shadow more than Sonic. Ho! Yes, you got a black hedgehog with a gun. Don't read too deep into that.
Years. 40% in the last 1,000 years. Declining magnetic field, the magnetic field getting weaker. And Walt Brown has a great explanation of it here. And, see.
We may just be in some sort of perturbation of the magnetic field, or maybe we are in the middle of a shift.
Or maybe there's a third option. Maybe it didn't happen at all. Maybe the flood took place and the water that used to...
Love Austin saying, I gotta admire how polite this debate is, and it's like, that's just because Kent hasn't had a reason to say anything super rude yet. He's trying to be a bit more civil because people have probably who he actually does listen to, because some people have to tell him some things. As egotistical as this man is, he has to get some kind of feedback, because he does change some things up when he has to. Probably realized it's not a good look, and people told him, you may want to tone down the insults.
To be under the crust of the earth, like the Bible says, the fountains of the deep broke open, and like this drawing shows, the water went shooting up, and that would erode a ridge, erode a portion between the crustal blocks, and if it gets wide enough, like to a compressed spring, the continents, the magma under the mantle underneath would lift up, and it would crack. As this lifts up and cracks, it's going to let water come in, which traps a stronger magnetic field. If it cools slowly, it won't trap the field as if it's flash frozen by water getting in. So
well, how do you...
Creationist Crybaby is a persona brought up by someone who has an additional commonly used account for Hovind-related things that was done specifically for the purpose of commenting, if memory serves, and, you know, somewhat antagonizing Kent. But the person behind these characters is much the same way as me, depending on my mood and whether I want to play my character to the fullest or not. Yeah, very, very, pretty straightforward. Definitely a little more level than me. I'm all over the place. And yeah, it's just kind of how things have, no pun intended, evolved. Bullshit Hill Zone, Act 1. Yeah, that's what we got with Kent here.
How do you explain the mountain ranges and how they match in terms of the fold belts and the fossils that are found there of extinct organisms on either side of the Atlantic Ocean?
Well, let's take one thing at a time. As far as the mountain ranges, here's the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. You have the Appalachian Mountains, which happen to follow the ocean. It's almost
Right,
like
because it's rifted apart, because it's rifting apart at the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, and so you would expect it to be the Appalachian Mountains, along with the other mountain ranges, the Little Atlas Mountains in Morocco, for example, in the Scottish Highlands, they formed as a result of when an ancient ocean there closed up, and there was a continent-to-continent collision, like what we were talking about with
Continent-to-continent collision. Yeah, like Kent's mom and dad. Oh, I can do fat jokes too. Now I feel bad. Like I kind of do. Oh, I apologize if that offended anybody, but we are talking about Kent Hovind's parents, so they obviously can't have been that great people if they produced somebody like Kent.
with the Himalayas, The Appalachians were a Himalaya-like mountain range at one time. That's why they look as old as they do. They don't, you have to admit, Kent, the Appalachians don't look like the Rocky Mountains or the Sierra Nevada mountains.
I've been to every state in
You've
the Union.
traveled. I mean,
I've traveled a lot, yeah. The reason
Every state in the Union? Don't you mean the corporation of the United States? Because aren't you a sovereign citizen of the state of Florida, or were? Now you're a sovereign citizen of the state of Alabama? So is there a union or isn't there, buddy?
the Appalachians look more rounded is because they're eroded more because they were softer sediment, and the flood, Noah's flood would have eroded that. The Rocky Mountains must have lifted up late in the flood.
That is pretty wild, Crypto, and I can totally see that. People just thinking that different skeletons are just perfectly normal, modern animals, just distorted, deformed. Totally makes sense.
Flood and didn't have as much erosion. It could have happened 6 months apart in Noah's flood and still get that vast difference in the way they look. Let me just cover. We got a lot of people waiting to get on.
Yeah, go ahead. That's good. I'm happy with that, Kent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. The plates.
I really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next time.
All right, I would agree. The continental plate.
Crybaby's like, I'm done. Get me out of here.
The Earth is busted up like an eggshell, and the plates are still moving around. I think that all happened at the time of Noah's flood. The fact that they're moving does not prove that they.
Kent's dad asked him once, how stupid can you be? He took that as a challenge. So I'm getting this right. Kettle, Saturn, according to Kent, is located inside the ice canopy. Very flurfy of Kent. It's weird. Whole thing is weird.
They've always been moving. They could have started yesterday or 2 days before they figured out how to measure it, okay? I think they started 4,500 years ago at the time of Noah's flood. It does not prove the rate that we see today has always been the same. Something could have sped it up or slowed it down. As the plates move around and lock into place, they get called a fixed fault instead of a strike fault or a slip fault, okay? And you get earthquakes where it's moving, okay? Students should be told there are other options instead of being brainwashed to believe only the evolutionist option. The continents are moving, I agree, a little bit. If I see someone headed east on I-10 at 70 miles an hour.
Look at this. Everything is based around fucking Pensacola. Because I-10, if it doesn't run through, it runs right by Pensacola, and I guarantee it runs right through. His entire perspective of the universe is that little bubble. It's ridiculous. He can't diversify anything. He couldn't adapt anything. I mean, yeah, I'm likely to use I-40 because I'm literally a mile away from it. But that doesn't mean that I have to use I-40 as an example if I was doing the same kind of analogy. I could use any route, any path. It's just, if this was an isolated thing, it wouldn't be that big a thing to point out, but it's just everything that Kent does is based around Pensacola's geographic location. It's so weird.
Does that prove they started in Los Angeles 4 days ago? No, they might have just got on the interstate at the last exit, okay? So we do see the continents moving. We do see the mountains eroding. That does not prove anything for deep time. You have to imagine all of that. Continental drift theory is trying to avoid two problems. For they want the Earth to be billions of years old. Number one, the magnetic field is getting weaker. It can't be more than 25,000 years old.
Brock got StreamYard working through Safari. Awesome.
It is getting weaker. So that's where they invent the reversal idea, which is pure and physically impossible, okay? There's very little sediment in the oceans, only a few thousand years worth. Well, that's because they're only a few thousand years old. Now, there would be places like if it...
But Kent, you know what happens to sediments over time if there's enough pressure on them? They begin to solidify, become rocks, sedimentary rocks, and you get enough of those together, and you'll have a nice deep layer, multiple layers that would be related. You know, the layers that you say are all the same age, and you know, the layers that handle the idea of there being relatively lower amounts of sediment than one would expect there. I mean, come on, Kent. Do you not see what you're saying? Really? Oh, I wish y'all could see my face. I'm just grinning this entire time like, really, dude? Really?
The crust is lifting up and the water's running off rapidly, it might bring more sediment with it. And by today's accumulation standard, maybe let's give it a number and say it accumulates an inch every 50 years. So you measure the depth and say, wow, inch every 50 years. You can't do the math like that. What if the first 400 feet was put out there in 20 seconds when the water was pouring off the rising mountains? So no one's produced a logical mechanism for how Earth's magnetic field can reverse. It can't. The magnetic field has strong.
Yeah, says you.
Stronger, weaker, but there are no reversals. I'll stand by that, okay? And see all kinds of stuff on this, the Terrell Museum. That's not what I wanted to get to.
Yeah, maybe you should organize your dumbass slides, Kent.
Okay, anyway, get the next question up there, brother. Thank you. Okay, Ken, a while back I was watching a video on some guys scanned Greenland, and they found underneath the snow a lot of plants, canyons, etc. In other words, it used to not be covered in snow. I would agree. The whole world was covered in vegetation before the flood came. What we're seeing today is a junkyard compared to what Adam and Eve saw. Today, the world is 70% underwater, 10% under ice.
Underwater. Well, he bobbled his head there. It's just so ridiculous.
10% deserts. They say about 3% of the earth is...
Hey, look back up there above the god-awful kerning G and imagine it's the old sand toy still hanging out. And he's got a book on dragons.
Habitable for mankind. The Bible says in Isaiah 45, he formed it to be inhabited. So apparently it was different when God made it, and Noah's flood wrecked it all. So we're seeing a junkyard compared to what Adam and Eve would have seen. Did I get the question? Oh, so yes, I think Hovind theory. The earth used to be surrounded.
Hovind theory. Pick up my snow globe. Hovind.
By a crystalline canopy, a couple inches thick. The Jews have taught it was 2 to 3 fingers thick. When the fountains of the deep broke open, it shot.
So it's now a crystalline canopy again? Is it crystal or is it ice? Which is it, Kent? And yes, I know ice forms crystals, but when he says crystal, I'm thinking of gemstone crystal, quartz-like objects.
Rocks up and shattered that canopy, and this super cold ice, being magnetic, would be sucked in and dumped on the North and South Pole. You would have an almost instant ice age. Let's pick a wild number and say it was snowing 20 feet an hour. It would bury the animals. They try to run around and hide from the snow, and they get stuck standing.
And I know I say this a lot, but it's little things that Kent says, little ways he phrases things that really, really show he was never a teacher. Snowing 20 foot an hour is something your average layperson would say. Snowing at an accumulation rate of 20 feet per hour is the way someone who's a professional would say it. Kent is not a professional. Except at lying and bullshitting. That's it. I don't believe he taught anything anywhere. And if this is his teaching level, he's a shitty teacher. So, in the end, I think he still failed at actually teaching anybody anything of value.
Standing up, and they get buried standing up, and they freeze and suffocate in the snowdrift standing up. And that's exactly what we find. Frozen.
And it's also funny he loves to bring up physical impossibilities with animals and evolution, but loves to dictate an explicit physical impossibility with his canopy. This makes you think.
Mammoths, frozen camels, all kinds of animals frozen in a standing position, like they got snowed on real fast. Then that ice cap came all the way down, began pushing out like glaciers do, only this was rapid. And it carved grooves in the rock, glacial grooves. It plowed rocks ahead of it. And later when they melted back, the rock stayed there. They left them high, called a terminal moraine. And that it came clear down to Kansas City. There's nobody arguing that I know that the Ice Age did not come clear down to Kansas City, Missouri. I agree. Now, what does that prove? That it took millions of years? Or that there was a whole lot of snow dumped at one time? Then when Noah gets off the ark, the continents are much bigger because the oceans are smaller because the ice caps are bigger. All the water's frozen at the North and South Pole. It takes 300 or 400 years for all that to melt back. Matter of fact, it's still advancing and retreating. course, the idiots who believe global warming, they say, oh, yeah, we got to save the planet, kill all the people so we can save the iceberg.
What a fucking prick-ass dishonest straw man, you fucking piece of shit. Oh, just prove how much of a, I'm going to say it, a fucking retard you are.
It's going to break off and melt anyway, guys. So I think that as it melts back, it's going to raise the ocean level, and that's why we have a continental shelf. You need to watch my video 6. It's 2 hours long, covering all this with all the pictures in great detail.
Yeah. Video number 6, all the pictures, great detail from a fucking VHS tape. Yeah. I love watching my detailed seminars with 240 effective lines of resolution. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the look of VHS tape, the charm that it has, because that's what I grew up on. But, bruh, I can barely see your shit now in the digital age. High def. Only thing I see high def is your decrepit face. Your slides still look like shit, and they looked even more like shit back then. And from what I've seen of your old slides on that kind of quality, they look like total fucking garbage. So, no, there's no fucking way I'm wasting my time with your shitty ass tape 6. Up yours.
Okay. What's the next one there, brother? Every time someone says SFT or Kent or Matt solved the heat problem, they never explain it or show where the solution can be found. Well, occult, Nino, I'll explain it very simple.
Crypto with a good point. Kent's understanding of the Ice Age is not too dissimilar how cartoon characters can survive being encased in ice. Yeah, it really reminds me of that. Shove video 6 up your ass from Nismo. Very good. Or to cover the earth with a flood, 725 feet of rain would need to fall every day for 40 days straight. That's a lot of accumulation. Math checks out, though. And before anyone, random creationist watching this way down the line is like, well, 725 feet all over the earth, that's not that much. It's like, no, we're talking rate of accumulation in standard measurement methods. That would be the entire level would be raised by 725 feet, effectively. You extrapolate that out, and you get the mountains being covered, and there you go. But, of course, the mountains supposedly didn't exist then, which would make the weather patterns really weird, but let's not get into details. Speedy Romans, I didn't take anything, play top video number 5. Oh, man. That's why video number 5. Oh, wait, that's the one you said that all the government agents went after. Get every DVD number 5 you can. They would have just subpoenaed all copies from the production plant, you dumbass. Kent doesn't even know how even that kind of shit works. It's ridiculous.
The Bible teaches there was water above the firmament, Genesis chapter 1, and it says the firmament is where the birds fly. So there used to be water above the atmosphere, a layer of ice, I believe, a canopy.
So was it just water all the way up, Kent? Or was it a second ocean on top of the first ocean? How deep was this second ocean on top of the first ocean? Your model doesn't seem to be explained very well.
Like a big greenhouse. It could have been held up by Earth's magnetic field or held up by air pressure like a big inflatable building is, or maybe a combination of both. Maybe a slight effect with just centrifugal force, keeping it out there. Don't know. But that canopy collapsed, which means now all the air that is, today our air is about 50 miles thick. It used to be squeezed down into maybe 10 miles. If that canopy shattered, the air that was compressed would then expand out to the current 50 miles. That absorbs heat. Get a can of anything, can of hairspray or paint, hold the button down. The can will get cold in your hand. That's how refrigerators work, and
that's how refrigerators work.
Air conditioners and ice makers, same principle. Compress the air and then release the pressure, and it absorbs the heat. So it's not a heat problem at all for you guys trying to make fun of the Bible, saying, "Oh, you can't have all that rain." Yeah, you can. It's not if the atmosphere is expanding at the same time.
You've got a hell lot more than the rain to worry about, Kent. You don't even know what you don't know. You're that ignorant. You're that stupid.
It absorbs it, no problem. Now, let me predict. Go back to that one last one, would you, brother? Occult Nino does not want an answer to that question. I predict he'll come back with another one rather than say, wow, that makes sense, Brother Hovind. You got a good point there.
If what you ever said made sense, someone would acknowledge it, but nothing you've ever said makes any kind of sense. Get over yourself, Kent.
Changed my mind. Nope. He wants to believe in evolution because he's got something in his life he knows God won't like if he changes his lifestyle, if he accepts God.
And again, the whole claim that it can never just be the fact that everything you say is complete bullshit. No, it's got to be just some willingness to just avoid the stupid idea that somehow just magically pretending God's not there allows you to get away with whatever. It doesn't even make sense. But look at this smug piece of shit. It's like, come the fuck on, Kent. Come the fuck on.
You know, don't you? Okay, next question. Billy, but be ye not called doctor, for one is your teacher. You are all brethren. Matthew 23:8. That's not King James. Many called masters is the word I think it used, okay? I don't ask anybody called, but don't you have a master's degree in college? They can get that kind of, ooh, whoa. I've earned 3 doctors and 1 honorary. If you don't like it, call me Kent. Doesn't bother me at all. I'm not interested, okay? Okay, Jason, replying to Kent Hovind. Kent Hovind, Earth is flat. It makes everything you say work. Jason, I'm sorry, you are deceived, greatly deceived. I asked a guy the other day, we're talking to a guy who came to visit here, took the tour, from a Canadian guy. He said, I've really been studying this flat earth stuff. He said, I'm confused. How do you prove it wrong? I said, well, it's very, very simple. It's simple hundreds of ways, actually. Let's take, here we have the earth.
Oh man, this is going to be good.
And let's get the moon in here. Okay. And we'll make that thing the sun over there. Every once in a while, the moon goes.
I feel I need to specify that this is most certainly not to scale.
In between the earth and the sun and makes a shadow on the earth, doesn't it? We call that a lunar eclipse. Other times.
Are you fucking serious, Kent? Y'all see what he just did, right? I'm going to give you a minute. Let the chat catch up. This piece of shit. This retarded piece of shit. It's just like his shit last time about calling something that bites you and poisons you poisonous. I'm looking at the chat now to see if everyone caught it. Oh, surprising. There's actually no responses. He just referred to a solar eclipse as a lunar eclipse. Let me step back just a hair.
Every once in a while, the moon goes in between the earth and the sun.
Moon goes in between earth and sun.
And makes a shadow on the earth, doesn't it? We call that a lunar eclipse.
You fucking idiot.
Other times, the earth goes between the sun and the moon, and earth makes a shadow on the moon. So sometimes you got a shadow on the moon, and sometimes the shadow's on the earth, and there's about anywhere from 3 to 7 eclipses a year. And I'm sure they can get Astronomy Magazine or probably on the internet and tell you when the next one is. Now, how far away the moon is determines.
Yes, Kent, and how might we be able to predict those? Just figure that out and get back to me.
That's how big that shadow's going to be. Watch this. If I get the moon real close, makes a great big shadow. If I go out too far, if I get far enough out, the moon's not big enough to block all the light from the sun, and so you don't get a shadow at all. If I get a little bit closer, you get a little bitty dot. So sometimes the eclipse line, where you can see the eclipse, is just a little bitty 5-mile wide line. And it's only going to be for a short distance on the planet because we're spinning and the moon's moving and there are too many things going on here. If the moon's the moon goes around the earth in an egg shape or an ellipsoid called perigee and apogee. P for pretty close and A for far away. If the moon happens to be in the part of its orbit where it's farther away, then it's less likely to make an eclipse on the earth. Plus,
no, Kent, there would still be an eclipse. It would be a partial eclipse as opposed to a total eclipse. Holy fuck, Kent. This deserves a whole video on its own. Holy shit. I'm doing that tomorrow. Make a fucking screenshot here and note that shit. God damn.
The Earth is spinning, and the moon's not going around straight above the equator. It's 10 degrees off. So that's why it doesn't always line up every month. But if you get a shadow of the moon on the Earth, it's always a circle. If you get a shadow of the Earth on the
Could it be Satan?
moon, listen to me, it's always a circle. Always. If the Earth were flat, the shadow on the moon would be a line once in a while.
And here goes Kent not understanding, and I can't believe I'm saying this, not understanding what model logic we can infer from flat Earth cosmology, thinking that the Earth is just a pizza floating in space in their world, not comprehending that they reject the idea of space, they reject the idea of planets. Moon's not an object, it's all random lights in the sky and all kinds of craziness, that their view of the world of the universe is so completely distorted. He doesn't even know enough to try to argue against it. And people are supposed to think he understands other scientific principles. Holy fuck.
Explain how it's not. The Earth is a round ball, it spins and it goes around the sun, and that doesn't contradict any scriptures at all. I'm sorry, Jason. You got duped. Some atheists made up this stupid flat Earth stuff just to see if Christians are dumb.
Atheists made up the flat... No, dude. No, Kent. And this has been a thing. Grayson did a great video on this, and it's a principle I had noticed. Flat Earth is almost exclusively a creationist position. I have never encountered a flat earther who isn't a flat earther because of the Bible and very specifically holds on to strong creationist principles as well. You're just plain wrong. Not that you aren't always wrong, but holy fuck, you're wrong when you bring that up. It's ridiculous.
Dumb enough to fall for it, and sure enough, a bunch of people did, and they laugh at you guys for believing that. Kansas is flat, the rest of it's round, okay? West Texas is flat too, right? You've traveled quite a bit. West Texas is pretty flat. Yeah, okay. All right, rest of it's round though. Go ahead. Kent, the Bible talks a lot about demon possession. You hear about demon possession now? I do. It's not something I deal with in my ministry, so I have to let somebody else handle that. But
the way he said I do there, oh man.
I do. It's not something I deal with.
He takes it completely seriously. You're fucking crazy, Kent.
In my ministry, so I have to let somebody else handle that. But I've met a few that I thought were demon possessed. Go on my channel, Genesis Baptist Church.
Well, Brock, as a general rule, I don't mind, but I'm still going here, so it's just it'd be a little weird, and also I don't think my chat settings will allow it. So if you were to post it, I think it'd just get eaten by the system. So you definitely need to pop into Atheist Junior's Discord. Is a great place to share links like that.
To the playlist and go to the rumors part and listen to the part about the lady screaming. That had to be, I would say, close to demon possession.
Wait, was he just talking about Cindy there? Fuck you, Kent. Even if you weren't, just fuck you. You fucking asshole.
We just can't make out all the trillions and billions of stars and planets and naming of all of them. Oh, God can name them all, no problem. He knows them all. He knows them all by name. He knows. It doesn't say he knows how many hairs on your head. He knows the number.
Sure. I'll back up. Let's definitely run that again.
Church to the playlist. I deal with in my ministry.
Okay, yeah. Let's hit the very beginning of the thing.
Okay. All right. Rest of it's round though. Go ahead. Kent, the Bible talks a lot about demon possession. Do you hear about demon possession now? I do. It's not something I deal with in my ministry, so I have to let somebody else handle that. But I've met a few that I thought were demon possessed. Go on my channel, Genesis Baptist Church, to the playlist and go to the rumors part and listen to the part about the lady screaming. That had to be, I would say, close to demon possession.
fuck you again, Kent. And also, I want you to notice something he did there. He said, go to my channel, Genesis Baptist Church. Man evasion. Too bad YouTube won't care, but man evasion. Right there, he acknowledges that Genesis Baptist Church is his channel. You done fucked up, Kent.
We just can't make out all the trillions and billions of stars and planets and naming of all of them. Well, God can name them all, no problem. He knows them all. He knows them all by name. He knows. It doesn't say he knows how many hairs on your head. He knows the number of the hairs. Here it goes. This is. I'm getting.
Ladies and gentlemen, Deviant, I believe, has broken out into Swedish to express herself because English will not do. Our Swedish Egyptian queen here is pissed, and rightfully so. Ken Hovind, the guy who thinks all Asian cultures are God-hating communists. Seriously.
Hair number 8,247. Yep. He knows the number of the hairs, each one. So we're talking about an infinite God here, okay? He knows it. He knows what you're going to be thinking in 40 years. He knows it all.
Okay. Then he knows I'm probably going to still think he's a total fucking piece of shit. But that's okay because he doesn't exist. So I can just keep on thinking all I want and it won't matter. It's funny how that works.
Oh. Hi, big fan. Could explain in simple terms the obvious issues with carbon dating. Whenever this topic comes up, I struggle to make it simple. Okay, how much time do we have? Okay. Are there a lot more waiting, brother? This one takes a little while. I'll hurry.
Soot Kettle has provided a partial translation. Hot poker somewhere. I expected as much.
Okay. Okay. On my video number 7, I spent quite a bit of time. Put my slides up, brother. On carbon dating. And this is not a piece of coal mating.
From our lovely friend Deviant, there's a lot of gory pictures in my head right now, and they're the only thing that soothes me. You know, I'm going to share something with you guys. It was mentioned earlier, anime was brought up. I used to be big into anime. And there's one series produced by Go Nagai, the same person who helped create the Magic Girl genre via Cutie Honey and amongst other stuff. Go Nagai is incredible. Love his creative talent. He came up with a concept called Devilman. It involves a demon realm, someone being effectively possessed, turned into, or able to turn into this character, taking on the abilities of a particular demon. It's some cool shit. And seeing that as a teenager, it inspired a story that was partially inspired by both that and the open world ideas of the Grand Theft Auto games at the time, since GTA 3 was new and was a big deal. And it was itself intrinsically supposed to be extremely gory, extremely brutal, involving a demon prince effectively stuck on Earth. I really do want to get around to writing it, and it exists as nothing more than catharsis, as the story I've come up with that is the really dark one, if you will. You know, I've got my fantasy, Final Fantasy-esque story. I've got my sci-fi action story. Hey, we lost the viewer while I was talking about that. Ha ha ha. Can't handle the heat, stay out of the kitchen. And yeah, I've got a couple of different ones that are just fit the kind of archetypes of stuff I really want to write at some point. You think I would have done that by now. And yeah, I can totally relate though to that, to what Deviant's saying here. Sometimes you just need that particular way of releasing frustration. Is it bigger than a baby's arm?
Dating a diamond. They're both made out of carbon. Okay. All right. Let's see. If I use the illustration here, if you walked into a room and found a candle burning on a table and I said, hey, when was it lit? You say, I don't know. Well, let's figure it out. Let's do some empirical science. Let's measure it. We find out the candle is 7 inches tall. Then we measure how fast it's burning. inch an hour. Here we got two facts.
You know what's funny is I think about that picture and think that that picture could have been taken in like back when I was still in high school, or possibly even older than that. It's weird.
Nobody argues. It is 7 inches tall. It's burning an inch an hour. When was it lit? Can't tell me, can you? Unless you make.
Oh yes, the candle analogy. Is it as big as a whale's penis? It's 15 inches. I mean, 15 feet. 15-foot candle. I can't say scoot over, honey. Hovind. How many baby arms does Kenny today, chat?
Some assumptions. How tall was it? 8 inches tall? Then it's been burning for an hour. What if it was 16 inches tall?
But Kent, how do you know the rate of burning was constant? Oh wait, that's actually one of your points. But still, I'm just saying.
What if it was 45 miles tall? Whoa, we can't tell, can we?
But that's a physical impossibility, Kent, because wax can't support that kind of weight and deal with those kinds of stresses, you dumb fuck.
All we know is how tall it is now, and we know how fast it burns now. We also don't know that it's always burned at the same rate. And they use circular reasoning to date fossils and layers. The geologic column does not exist. There is no fossil record. Give it up, guys. There's a bunch of fossils in.
Now, to be fair with that, candles do burn a portion of the wax. So you would have a lost volume, but then again, it's probably a known value that the average standard candle wick and burning candle will burn of the wax. How much wax will be burnt as well as the wick. Because it's a self-trimming wicks is what we have now. You used to have to actually trim the wick manually, regularly. So that's something to factor in, but still, y'all aren't wrong at all.
In the ground, trillions of them, probably all formed in one big flood called Noah's flood. They might be sorted a little bit based upon body density or mobility or intelligence.
You know, Kent loves to talk about the 15-foot whale penises. Where does he start measuring from? Does he measure from the base? You know, has he ever measured a whale penis? Is Kent an expert on whale penises? How does he know it's 15 foot? Why does he know it's 15 foot? That's the weird thing.
There could be other factors besides time of evolving. You don't want to believe that, I know.
Yeah, thank you, Justin. Yeah, lost volume can be calculated.
Oh, it's circular reasoning here. As far as carbon dating, bad news for radiometric dating. cs.unc.edu had a good article about that.
They had a good article about that? When? 1996? The fuck is that GeoCities shit? Default ass font, GIF right there of rainbow, solid color background. Yamato.com looks more advanced than that, and that's specifically meant to mimic a green screen terminal from like the 80s. Bruh. Get that GeoCities ass shit out of here. God damn.
Radiometric dating is done largely on rock that is formed from solidified lava. Okay, let's see. Forbes magazine did an article about it, about the problems with carbon dating. Answers in Genesis has a great article on this.
Answers in Genesis doesn't have a great article on a single goddamn thing.
Radiometric dating, the problems and assumptions. If you want to go down deep, stay down long. Students may be aware that bad assumptions and contamination can result in inaccurate radiometric dates. Well, how do you know which ones are not contaminated?
Yo, that's one of the things I'm proud of. Yamato.com, which granted it's just one page, I may add subpages, is fully handwritten in HTML. And by fully handwritten in HTML, I mean I used a web editor, HTML assistance program that was discontinued in like mid 2005 range. To like the website and the company don't even exist to do it because I have a soft spot for that program. I will use legacy software all the time if I can get away with it. And by that, I mean, if I can use it and enjoy it for what it was, and it still winds up being productive for me. Sadly, the amount of software that can work that way is less and less. Although I keep old Macs around for the very awesome software that they run.
Let's see. Creation.com has a great article on it. Science Daily did one at Cornell University. Radiocarbon dating is a key tool they use to determine the age of plants and objects made with organic material. But new research shows commonly
Yeah, that's one of the funniest things there, Justin, is that AIG has articles on Ken Hovind arguments not to use. Oh, man.
accepted radiocarbon dating standards can miss the mark, calling into question historical time.
Sydney Raptor, you're goddamn right I'm a computer geek. You know that song all about the Pentiums? Weird Al wrote that shit about me. So, yeah. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Hovind doesn't understand computers. Hovind couldn't operate a goddamn abacus.
Timelines. Wow, it was just, 8 years ago. And I go through how radiocarbon forms in the atmosphere. Radiation strikes the atmosphere and produces carbon-14. Now, if it had a canopy of ice overhead like the Bible teaches, it wouldn't make the carbon-14.
Hey, Kent, would your, I should call and ask him, just curiosity and never go anywhere with this. Would your ice canopy stop neutrinos? I just wonder, Kent. Do you know how many neutrinos are passing through your body as you record this? How many are going through mine? To you, my audience. Neutrinos are fucking weird, man. Kinda love them.
So the plants living before the flood probably had almost no C14 in them, carbon-14. So when they died in the flood and got buried...
I don't think Kent knows how to use any toilet of any kind. That man's probably still wearing diapers.
Or if animals ate the plants and got the C14 into them, like
y'all know the classic joke. Boxers or briefs? Depends.
Today happens. Either way, the pre-flood world had less C14. So therefore, it's going to automatically throw off all the numbers because you're using today's standard to date it. Duh. Today's atmosphere.
Oh my God, this has been going for almost 3 hours, this stream. It is almost 8 o'clock. We are pushing to the end. I am going to make it through this video. And if you have appreciated and loved this and have any spare shekels, a few parting super chats would make up for it, because this is torture. 1 hour, that's its own thing. 2 hours, it's a bit of a push. 3 hours, and we're still on Hovind? Oh boy. I know y'all love me, and you love it. I mean, reacting to this moron. In fact, the fact that Phantom X happens to not be here today is exactly a reason why I even, was like, okay, we can do this, because if he's around, I don't want to touch Hovind.
Is 0.0000765% radioactive C14. Very little. And then it decays from there and gets to be even less. Everything.
So you're telling me my July 4th, 2026 celebration plan of wearing, being mummified with toilet paper and then shot by the battleship Missouri isn't going to go the way I think it will? I got to make some phone calls.
5,730 years. So watch my video 7 if you want a whole lot more on that. I've covered this many times on the program. Carbon and nitrogen and all that kind of stuff. So the C14 in the air gets sucked into the plants, photosynthesis. The animals eat the plants. And probably during your lifetime, you've eaten some plants or some animals that have eaten plants. How many of you have done one of those?
No, don't minimize, damn it. Go back. Kent, can you explain this formula? Are these two formulae? What they actually mean? Can you? I don't think you can. I don't think you understand what all this is actually saying.
Every day, every meal? Okay, all right. It's assumed the ratio of radioactive C14 to normal C12 would be the same found in living plants and animals. Probably true. But when they test,
he can't just simply explain this stuff and say, check out this. He's got to go on a monologue.
Test them, it doesn't work. Compare the amount. So it gradually decays over time. 1 half-life, 2 half-lives, 3 half-lives. So they're trying to measure just a few molecules and say, wow. Their measurement techniques are amazing. They're wonderful. But their assumptions are as big as an elephant, and they don't see the elephant in the room. Just plain.
Yes, Kent, because all scientists are stupid, but you're a genius. You know, a genius who called a solar eclipse a lunar eclipse. A genius who called an animal that would bite you and poison you poisonous rather than venomous. Yes.
You don't see it. Let's see. Okay, got more questions there, guys? Yes, sir. All right, let's see. Do we go directly to heaven or do we sleep? Before Jesus died on the cross, they would go to what's called Abraham's bosom. But now that Jesus has died, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. Go straight to heaven.
Yeah, Deviant, there is an abnormal C12. It's called C14 or another radioisotope. That's the only way I can interpret any of that. So Kent knows fuck all of what he's talking about. You know that. I know that. We all know that. It's good to point out, though.
Hey, Kent, could you explain why abiogenesis is impossible? Abiogenesis is the idea that life came from non-living material, okay? It's simply never been demonstrated. All the science...
Life is nothing but chemicals. Chemicals behave according to known properties. It is within complete reason, knowing good and well that what amount to prebiotic chemicals exist out there in nature, wholesale. You just scoop them up, basically. Being figurative, not literally. Not literal there. That with the chemicals doing what they do, you can get life. That's just how it works. It's basic chemistry. Okay, it's organic chemistry, and that shit's pretty complicated, but the principles are pretty simple. You got some valence electrons, and shit happens. Do you know what a valence electron is, Kent? I don't think you do.
Scientists together in the laboratories can't do it. They can't make it happen in the laboratory. Why are we supposed to think it happened on its own? Let's see. I tell people, you can believe whatever you want, okay, but that's not science. To believe that life came from non-living material. Seminar part 7, here we go.
But the gamma radiation, that's why you can't hang out in the Red Forest very long. I know, it's a beautiful place, but you don't want to be there. Damn cesium.
Oh, DV. I cover this. No.
No. Gotta be a dude's bosom. Yeah, that shit was weird to me, too. I just didn't even have the energy to make a comment on it.
I'm sorry, I picked up the wrong one, guys. Give me just 1 second. I want to get... Okay. Joseph, have you updated my slides on my thumb drive? I got to have...
Kent, can you do anything yourself, you dumb fuck?
60,000 by now. I add stuff all the time. I find cool art. People send me stuff, and it makes me look real smart, but actually, they're all sending me stuff from all over. You guys do all the research. Okay, the origin of life.
Yeah, which means that, like, when he does stuff like he shows my live stream from the other week of Professor Dave tearing into him, that someone decided to send that to him. Kent doesn't know how to use the internet. Kent doesn't know how to use a computer. I don't think Kent can use a toilet, as Ollie G brought up. I don't think Kent can actually do anything.
Abiogenesis. Look at that little bundle of chemicals. Let's call him Cosmic Fluke. What do you think? Earth was formed 4.5 billion years ago. It was a hot ball of rock. Earth was a hot ball of rock, a hot ball of molten rock. This is what
here he goes, talking about rocks.
They're all teaching. National Pornographic had an article, hot ball of rock, okay? Earth was a hot ball of rock. There it is right there. What's his name? Aaron Ra says, no evolutionist ever believed we came from a rock. Aaron, all you evolutionists believe you came from a rock. All of you do. Stop lying to your...
No, Kent. No. And what you're trying to say here, putting your conspiracy red circle around it, doesn't mean what you think it means, doesn't say what you think it says. You're looking all smug here. No, dumbass. No.
Your people, or get up to date on your science. I know you just got a BS from mail order catalog, and I'm proud of you. You need more. Now get an MS. That's more of the same. Then on top of that BS and the MS, you can get a PhD piled higher and deeper if you want. Okay. So 3 point.
Yes, get the piled higher and deeper that you brag about. That's why you're always called Dr. Kent. Which is it, Kent? Is a PhD stupid, or is it something good to have? Pick a...
Of years. It's in these oceans that the first living organisms appear.
Gamma ray bursts will fuck up everything. Maybe one will hit DAL. The only problem is it would take out all life on the planet as well. It'd be nice if it could be focused. But then again, the beam would penetrate the Earth, possibly spread some, and I don't know what's on the direct opposite side of DAL, but I don't want life there getting ruined just because Kent Hovind is a dumbass.
Earth was a hot ball of rock, a hot ball of rock. So according to the theory, the Earth was a hot ball of rock. It got rained on for millions of years, turned them into soup, and the soup came alive. This isn't science. This is fairy tale stuff. This is SpongeBob imagination. The first living organisms appeared, a hot viscous ball of rock, water trapped in the minerals.
Yeah, I mean, it's so fucking stupid, Kent, talking about this shit. Everything he says is stupid, but man, this one's fucking... I'll say it one more time, more retarded than normal for him. I feel bad saying that, because I try to avoid using the word, but there's no other way to describe Kent Hovind. He is clearly mentally inhibited. He is a special needs child who never got the special needs he needed.
Came out, yep. And the Earth, Confessions of a Former Fireball, How Earth Became Habitable. Let's see. Early Earth transformed itself. Ooh, how did it do that? Yeah. Earth transformed itself from a fiery, carbon-clouded ball of rocks into a planet capable of sustaining life. Going from just plain rocks and minerals to life is impossible unless God steps in and does it.
And this guy's... No, Kent, it's not impossible. Get the fuck over it.
God can take the dust of the ground and make a man. That I believe. I don't claim I can prove it scientifically. I said I believe it. You guys believe that dust...
Here we go. We're going to go on his false equivalence rant. What you want to bet before the end of this? He complains about something being paid for at taxpayer expense.
In the ground, the chemicals in the pond got together and made life themselves without a God doing it. That's stupid. Real stupid. Tell him I said so. Okay? Hope that helps. More? Wonder what Kent makes of the drones. Don't know. Seen just a little bit about it.
See, Kent, this is the kind of audience you propagate. People going over outright conspiracy crap. It's wild. You never just take a step back and look at your audience and think, damn, they're stupid. You don't take a step back and look at my audience and think, damn, these people are smart as hell. That should tell you everything you need to know.
If one comes by, get a ball bat and whack it down. Can't hold up the evolution chart and then turn it upside down. That's what's actually happening with de-evolution. Let's see. You mean this one?
You know, the word isn't de-evolution, it's devolution. There's only one E in there. Oh, wait, I forgot. You only partially understand English.
Where are we all?
Also, devolution isn't a valid concept.
Instead of us, everybody, all life forms coming from a molecule, you want to hold it like this, huh? So we're all devolving into, This is nothing but artwork. This is a propaganda poster is all it is. It's lines on paper. Pure propaganda, nothing else. Evolution is a religion. Prove me wrong. Where's the brave people going to call in and prove me wrong? You explain the mockery.
Oh, evolution meets none of the criteria that are generally accepted of something being a religion. Ergo, it is not a religion by any valid definition. And if it goes by just the what you believe line, then everything is a fucking religion, Kent. And thus, the distinction becomes irrelevant. You're wrong. Fucking ditch your channel. Get a real job.
And Bumpy and how the tribes cooperate together of its existence. Did the books get taken back to the Science Center about that? You know, guys? There had quite a few books up on the topic of mockery and Bumpy. What he's talking about is, shut this one down. My video.
Wait. What was that shit, Kent? Hang on. Let's go back. What was that little bit of weird shit? Oh.
Did the books get taken back to the Science Center about that? You know, guys? There had quite a few books up on the topic of mockery bumpy. What he's talking about is, shut this one down.
Okay, it was just a slide, but still, you said that as if there was something, you know, suspicious over there. Or maybe something suspicious did pop up. Maybe you had a different window open for something that you may not have wanted people to see.
My video number 3 of my series, I cover a lot of material on dinosaurs that may still be living. There's a swamp in Africa that is bigger than the whole state of Alabama. Let's see, LTV, there we go. Put my slides up there, brother. Let's see, the Congo swamp. The Bible says in Job 40, this animal, behemoth, has a tail like a cedar tree, and he lives in the swamp.
It said the tail swings like a cedar, as in it sways like a tall, semi-rigid object would. It's describing a fucking hippo.
Fens. The Likwala swamp.
Or wasn't it an elephant? I think it was a hippo it was describing. Had to be a hippo. Could be an elephant, but I think hippo.
55,000 square miles. That's what it looks like next to the whole United States. Africa is huge, okay? That swamp is the same size as Illinois or Iowa. I know you guys in Illinois, like we're both from Illinois, we don't like to admit Iowa's the same size. Oh, okay. And Florida, same size. Congo swamp. Congo was colonized by Belgium from 1885 to 1960.
Oh my God, this has fuck all to do with anything. Oh right, Göbekli Tepe and all that other crazy shit.
There's a swamp in there called the Likwala swamp that has, they don't allow people to go in. It's too dangerous. And they end up having to rescue the stupid people who go in there with the sandwich and think they're going to survive for a month, you know. Right? But there were articles over 100 years ago. Is a brontosaurus roaming Africa's wilds? There have been reports from ever since white explorers went in there and came back alive and wrote articles about it. Yeah, there's dinosaurs still alive.
Had to specify the ethnic background of the explorers, didn't you? But remember, Kent, you don't believe in racism. You don't believe in races. But you had to stress the ethnic background. Right.
That swamp. There could be dinosaurs. Saturday Evening Post, 1948. A big game hunter went in there. Let's see. He said, there's a dinosaur. The natives call it Chippewa. In Central Africa, they call it Nguri. A different name, different language. They go in their time of life.
You know, we got about 8765. Excuse me. Got about 5 more minutes of Hovind. This stream has pushed 3 hours, 12 minutes. This may be my longest stream ever, and I certainly didn't intend it for it to be that way. Just going to say, if anyone wants to throw in those last-minute super chats, if you have the means, greatly appreciated. Every shekel goes towards helping me survive another day. I wish I wasn't joking. I wish I was joking there.
Life magazine did a stories about the mysterious creatures. The pygmies say there are crocodiles 50 feet long in there. Here's a 24-footer that they killed in 2005. That's a big crocodile, okay? There's a gator south of Athens, Texas. Picture taken from a helicopter. He's got a deer in his mouth. That's a big gator. Yeah, okay. Joe Goff, 6 foot tall, game warden, Texas Parks Wildlife, walks past a 23-foot, 1-inch gator that he shot and killed. Huh. There's a big...
Yeah, there's some big alligators and crocodiles and the like out there. What's your fucking point? There's also some big bears. Elephants are pretty fucking huge. Ever hear about them whales? Oh, wait, you're an expert on whales. Yeah, you got some big animals out there. What's your point?
Big gator, where's that one at? 2,400-pound monster? Anyway, the natives say they see this creature here, and they call it mockery bumpy. I don't know if that book is still available or not, A Living Dinosaur by Roy Mackal.
Yeah, Kent's evolution chart it's flawed. And it's stupid. And the way he uses it is even stupider.
Roy Mackal was a professor at the University of Chicago. He believed in evolution, but he said, look, let's be honest. Let's go look. There's reports of this. Let's go check it out. Even though he believed it was impossible. The natives showed him the plants that they prefer to eat. These creatures do. He found footprints of the creatures. Missionary Eugene Thomas, there used to be his phone number. I should have checked that. This is 20 years ago. I got that information there. I talked to Eugene. He said he had 2 pygmies in his church that claimed to have killed and eaten one of these creatures back in 1959. They say they stopped the river. They turn sideways across the river and stop it. There's one of the guys from the Congo, a biologist from the Congo, drawing a sketch. That's what they look like. So get my video number 3. There's just a ton of information on dinosaurs mentioned in the Bible, dinosaurs that may still be alive. Not big ones, not as big as they used to be. The creatures describe it as, the people there describe it says the creature has a skin is slick, brown, and long neck and a small head. Half God, half beast from the Herald Focus newspaper. Let's see. Hunters launch trek for a living dinosaur, 25 years ago. Living dinosaur, Roy Mackle. I wrote a book with William Gibbons, who went to the Congo swamp. He and I wrote this book, Claws, Jaws, Dinosaurs. It's on our website, drdino.com. drdinodave.com has done a lot of research on that. Go to
Dr. Dino Dave. You can't say Dino without saying doctor in front of it. It's pathetic. You can't just say Dino Dave.
Check that out, dinodave.com. Tell him I said hi. According to our guide, we were the first.
I'll tell him you said eat shit. How about that?
White men to penetrate the forest and swamps bordering the river. Our informants, all of them Beka pygmies, they do not regard L'Aquila mbembe as an unusual animal. From William Gibbons' book, okay?
Eric Nabbit, it keeps doing that. Yeah, seriously, Soot. Whatever will make them money. You know, they're just like, hey, people believe this stuff. Let's just keep promoting this idea. Congratulations, Kent. You fell for a tourist trap.
William Gibbons and I wrote this book, Claws, Jaws, Dinosaurs, and he wrote some more books on that topic. Get a hold of William Gibbons at shaw.ca, Canadian. I think that's his. Oh, there it is, creationgeneration.net. I haven't talked to William in many years, but I'm assuming it still works, okay? Okay, hope that helps. Any more?
Yeah, a couple more real quick.
Okay.
You go to creationgeneration.net, you get this site can't be reached. I'm going to go to Namecheap. I'm going to see something. It's available. There are 20 people here right now. If everyone was to donate $1, I could trivially take creationgeneration.net. Right now. I could legitimately do it. Just want to double check that that's Correctamundo. Yeah, I could totally do that right now. I just don't have the spare scratch at the moment. I am going to make note of that.
Still works, okay? Okay, hope that helps. Any more?
Yeah, a couple more real quick.
Okay. I remember when you came to Pancho's church in Montebello and you had a circular bracelet like paper fly from one end to the other. I still have it. We make the round airplane. Kids come here, we do that all the time too. It's pretty cool. Round airplane. Come on down. Visit Dinosaur Adventureland. We do all kinds of fun stuff here. Now, there's a dinosaur called Kentrosaurus, named after Kent Hovind. There is one called the Kentrosaurus, but it's not named after me. I don't think. I don't know. I doubt it. Okay.
Last one.
There's one thing I could say to prove against. What is one thing I could prove? Say old world creation. Well, depends what you mean by old and young. You got to define the term. The Bible dates clearly add up to the Earth being about 6,000 years old, not millions or billions. Okay. 6,000 is a long time. Long time. I cover on my video number 1 about 30 different scientific ways to show the Earth cannot be billions of years old. You can watch that and pick which one you think is the best, but you can start from space and say, wait a minute, the moon's going around the Earth. I think most folks agree with that. But the moon, as it goes around, it gradually gets further and further away. We're losing the moon about 1.5 inches a year. Well, that means it used to be closer. How close can it get before that creates two problems? Number one, the tides are higher. Number two, the magnetic field is strong, a gravitational attraction is stronger with the inverse square law. Like getting two magnets, two.
The moon's rate of recession has varied over time, and yeah, eventually if you work the math back, the moon does seem to be a part of the Earth, because it was a part of the fucking Earth, you moron.
Close together, they snap together. The moon, receding moon, is a great evidence this Earth is not billions of years old. The sun is burning up its energy. The oceans are filling in with sediments. The continents are eroding down flat. Cover a bunch of salt in the ocean.
If Kent wants a close moon, I can give him one. Definitely.
Lots of the population of the Earth. Watch video 1 for more on that. Okay, God bless your message. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate that. Genesis Baptist Church, mahalo, Kent, for all you do. I forgot how to say you're welcome in Hawaiian. You remember?
Everything's aloha.
You're welcome. Aloha for everything. Okay. 6 to 10,000 years old. I go with 6. All right, that's it. See you Sunday morning in the book of Psalms. Join us then. See you. Bye.
No, I won't be joining you. All right, people. Y'all wanted it. You got it. Just went through the whole fucking thing from Friday. I've been streaming for over 3 hours. I'm tired. Get in some Guild Wars before I go to sleep. Seriously though, I will buy that domain name when I can, so that I will have a URL that is in a Kent Hovind presentation that will do nothing but redirect to my YouTube channel. I mentioned Drunken Peasants previously. Someone did the same thing for them. Back when Brett Keane was an atheist, he had the domain godhatesyu.com or .org or something. A person bought that for a year and had it redirect to the Drunken Peasants YouTube page. It was a beautiful prank. So a Brett Keane book had a URL that redirected to Drunken Peasants. It was pretty awesome. But to be fair, I have too many domain names as is, but can always add more to the repertoire. But seriously, let's get those last few comments in. Deviant being protective of the posterior of her partner. King Lewis with the "you're fucktard, aren't you, Kent" video. I really should. Was it for Yamato in the lovely chat? I'd regret it. This is very pleasant 3 hours. I am glad you enjoyed. Give me a moment. And we're going to go out with a bang. Right. Okay. We are going to maximize. Actually, is this even the original upload? Let me double check. I think this is actually the original. Yeah. We're going to roll with this one. It don't matter. None of this really matters. Ah, damn it. Hold up a sec. Let me get it queued up and ready. So I forgot I'm not streaming this tab yet. I'll figure it out eventually. According to Kent Hovind, things get better over time. Hovind, share screen. Alrighty, we're gonna give this a good play, and then that'll be it for the stream. I'll go silent while we enjoy.
All know this guy, he's a big... Yeah, we all know this guy, he's a friggin' ass. Yeah, he calls himself a doctor, but he hasn't passed a science class. But even though he says that evolution was just a made-up claim, I don't know about you, but that is fucking lame. I guess the Flintstones were real, just like the taxes he didn't steal. You're a fucking aren't you, Kent? You're a fucktard, aren't you, Kent? And the way that he tries to prove his made-up shit, it's made up shit. He says that science is a lie and the Bible proves it. The Bible proves it. But what he doesn't seem to know is that Bible that he's claimed to have read, it really sucks, has about as much facts as evil did. I'll swallow your soul. Yes, God is for sale. I hope that you fucking rot in jail. You're a fucktard, aren't you, Kent? 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 I don't think he knows the shit that he believes is just a fucking joke. But what is really sad is people out there buying into the shit he preaches. Yeah.
This one's for you, Kent. Check it out.
You're a fucktard, aren't you, Kent? 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 Kent, you're a dick.
And there we go. We parted with the wonderful "You're a fucktard, aren't you, Kent?" which, of course, I was first exposed to because Logic used an excerpt of that for the intro of his "Hello, my name is Kent Hovind" video series. Did get a little bonus super chat from Sydney Raptor. Make sure you don't buy a cladistic domain name. Thank you for the $2 extra. Those shekels will go into me doing my master plan for the hell of it. Because obviously that domain is in such high demand. You know, it's not like the HD DVD domain name, because I'm a big fan of that format, dead format. It was the look and sound of perfect.com, and it's like still worth like thousands. Because companies like holding on to it. And that sucks because I kind of want that domain name, but whatever. It is what it is. Such is life, all that jazz. But yeah, wow, we are at 3 hours and 28 minutes of stream. This has been my longest stream ever. Oh, actually not. I think I did a 4-hour stream 10 years ago. It's private on my channel, sadly. I think anyway. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, for being here through this. It's been a fun time. I'm going to honestly just get some rest and then game like a mother tomorrow. So if y'all know where to find me in the usual places, Discord and the internet, elsewhere and the like, hit me up. Otherwise, adios, comrades. Oh, got a couple extra from Everett Guzman, $5. Thank you so very much. The stream has definitely earned enough for me to get that domain name. I just need everything to come together. because, Google only pays once a month. But those shekels are coming from December's awesomeness. So again, thank you all to everybody. So much love. Y'all have no idea how much fun I have hanging out with you. And you're the reasons I do this streaming. It's not even necessarily about talking about dudes like Palm Tree Man earlier, Ken Ham, or going after Kent. It is that, but it's also providing entertainment for you all and just making a cool place to hang out. So again, thank you so much. Catch everyone next time.